Alright, let me talk to you. In this video, you will be able to watch my journey through 100 days of super modded Stardew Valley. Well, actually I played through the entire year, so technically it's 112 days. Normally for a video like this, I would talk about the mods I am using and explain what they all do. But if I did that here, this intro would be 30 minutes long. Instead, I will talk about each mod when they appear in the playthrough. I have not set any goals for this adventure. We're just going to take our time with it and see what each and every mod has to offer. Anywho, no more dilly-dallying. Let's get started with day 1. To begin the first day, I opened the box of parsnip seeds Mayor Lewis gave us, which is arguably the nicest thing he has ever done for anybody. Then a magical, mystical, mysterious text box appears. Basically, we have had a very strange and creepy dream. The text box recommends that we visit the museum where we might be able to get some answers. This text box is the introduction to the Durin's Rest mod. One of the very first videos I ever made on this channel was about this mod, so I do know a bit about it, but it has been a while, so a lot of it will hopefully be fresh. I clear out a bit of space on the farm to make room for the seeds I will be planting later, make a chest and deposit my items into it. Elwa, I don't really know how to pronounce this name, Elwa, Eloise, Elwaz? I'm gonna go with Elwa, I think that sounds correct. Elwa has sent us a letter. I must say, I was very surprised to see we had a letter available to read on the very first day. Elwa is a villager included in the East Scarp mod. They mentioned that their father is a vet and hopes I will become friends with their father. Maybe, we'll see what happens. At the bus stop, I eavesdrop on a conversation Lewis is having with his sister Lenny. Lenny is the chief administrator of Ridgeside Village. Lewis, as always, isn't exactly friendly in this conversation. I really wish there was a mod that had Krobus or Willy take over as mayor of Pelican Town. I feel like that would be a lot better for everybody involved. I head into Pelican Town where I talk to Kenneth, one of the many villagers included as part of the Ridgeside Village mod and one of the many villagers in the game overall. I enter the museum and talk to Gunther. He also had a strange dream. A shadow figure told him I would be visiting him. He finds warp totems in a book and gives them to us. I collect these warp totems and use them to teleport to Durin's Rest. The one unfortunate thing about Durin's Rest is the Vibrant Pastoral Recolor mod does not work in this area. So unless there's a way to fix this that I don't know about, this area is going to look different aesthetic-wise from every other area in this playthrough, but that's not too big of a deal in my opinion. Thankfully, the mod itself more than makes up for this. I visit the home of a villager named Durin who wants us to defeat slimes in the area. These slimes drop salt which we need to give to Durin. Before we leave his house, Glorgan shows up and says he can give us a weapon that will aid us in our quest. Sweet. I immediately enter Glorgan's house and retrieve a hammer from his chest. Not only will this hammer help us with this quest, it will also make going through the mines easier as we won't have to rely on the starter sword Marlin will give us later on. I defeat a group of slimes with relative ease and collect all of the salt I need. I give this salt to Durin, completing his first quest. I receive 20 barley seeds as a reward. Durin has also instructed us to visit the market, which I do. Upon entering this market, I receive another quest instructing me to return to Durin's house. Durin has already taken a liking to us thanks to everything we have done so far, but he mentions that there are other villagers who we should also work on becoming friends with. In other words, I have to reach one heart of friendship with everybody in this town. I receive a Dwarven Ale and use the Look Up Anything mod to find out how much it's worth. Almost 2,000 gold. That is going to give us a lovely head start when we sell it. Like I said, I have a quest to reach one heart of friendship with Aaron, Balor, Durin, Edris, and Glorgan. As well as this, I have 2 other quests. The first is to deliver 30 bone fragments to Durin, at which point he will allow us to enter the old mines in the town. The second quest requires me to plant the barley seeds Durin gave us, harvest them, and give 10 barley to him. All in all, I would say these are pretty handy. I use a warp totem to get back to the starting area. From there, I enter the teleportation station and return to the bus stop. I sell the ale I received from Durin, bumping my bank account up to over 2,400 gold. The shop here has received an upgrade as things like sprinklers, ancient seeds, and coffee beans are all being sold. This is thanks to the shop overhaul mod I am using. I will be sure to point out the effect it has on other shops when I visit them. A metal detector is also being sold here. This is included in the coin collector mod. I buy the metal detector and spend my remaining gold on potato seeds. I have quite a few seeds to plant, but thankfully I can use some of the forage items I picked up today as a source of energy to do so. I plant the barley, potato and parsnip seeds I have, but I don't water them as I am almost completely exhausted. In better news, however, Durin has sent us the crafting recipe for the Durin's Rest Warp Totem. I'm sure this will come in handy in the future. Another trip into Pelican Town is on the table now as I want to take a look at the bounty board. Both William and Clint have quests for us. Willie wants us to catch carp and Clint wants us to collect coal. The Help Wanted mod allows us to accept more than one quest at a time, something that I'm sure will be very beneficial in terms of earning friendship points and getting some extra gold. I spend the rest of the night walking around town hoping to find something with my metal detector. Unfortunately, I do not have much luck with this, or any luck at all really. I went everywhere, but it didn't make any noise, and the green dot that appears when you're close to buried treasure did not pop up. But it was still a nice way to wind down after everything we did on this very busy first day. I collect some forage at the beach, then I pass by Sophia's house. Sophia is of course a villager included in the Stardew Valley expanded mod. So in total I am using 4 mods that add new areas to the game. Durin's Rest, East Scarp, Ridgeside Village and Stardew Valley expanded. This means there are a ton of new recipes to unlock, fish to catch, villagers to befriend, cutscenes to watch, secrets to find, and overall just a lot more work to do than in vanilla Stardew Valley. So this will undoubtedly be the longest Stardew Valley adventure I have ever embarked on, and you know what? I am very excited to go through it all. I return to the farm, which I'm going to speak about very quickly while footage of me entering the warp room on the farm plays. I can use this warp room to teleport to the farmhouse, the quarry, the ocean, mountain, forest and river areas on the farm. I'm playing on the Ever Farm, a mod I have actually made a video about before. If you would like to know more about this farm, feel free to watch the video I made about it. The short version is, this farm is massive and I'm going to do my absolute best to make sure it looks absolutely beautiful by the end of this playthrough. I finally head to sleep, feeling very happy with everything I accomplished today. On the morning of day 2, I clear out a bunch of fiber from below our field of crops. I didn't do this for aesthetic purposes though, no, you see I want to build up a collection of mixed seeds. The Better Mixed Seeds mod I am using allows any crop to grow from mixed seeds. Under normal circumstances, this would mean that strawberries, ancient fruit and coffee beans would be able to grow from these during spring. But, as we are using the Stardew Valley expanded mod, along with other big expansion mods, even more rare and valuable crops will grow from these seeds too. I'm going to plant as many of these seeds as possible so we can get a taste of what the crops in these mods are like. Lewis has sent us a letter. He lets us know we can use our mailbox to send gifts to the villagers. This is a way of introducing the mail services mod to the game. This mod allows us to send gifts, ask Clint to upgrade our tools, and send quest items to villagers just by using our mailbox. It will make things a lot more convenient for us. William has also sent us a letter, perhaps the most important letter in the entire game. He has returned from a fishing trip and wants us to visit him. That I shall do, Mr. William. But first, I must forage for a magnificent flower known as a daffodil. I check out the bounty board again, where 5 villagers have a quest for us. I do not know how many of these quests I will actually complete, and I do not want to bore the socks off you by reading them all, so I won't read them all. However, what I will do is let you know when I have completed a quest. I visit William at the beach and receive the fishing rod. Ordinarily, this would start a long period during which I do nothing but fish for several days in a row, but truth be told, there is so much excitement flowing through my veins. This excitement is not reserved for fishing, nay, but rather the abundance of content included in every mod I have installed. So, as much as I would like to sit and stare at my screen catching fish after fish after fish after fish, I will not be doing that. That's not entirely true actually, I will be doing a bit of fishing, so technically that was a lie. But I don't keep it 100, I keep it 99 because I dabble in a little bit of deception from time to time. After donating an artifact to the museum and receiving 250 gold for doing so, I do a bit of fishing at the river in front of Leah's cabin. Willie wants chubs and Demetrius wants sunfish. I catch the 3 sunfish with relative ease, but the chubs prove to be quite the kerfuffle. And by kerfuffle, I mean my heart did not long for the shrill shriek of the river and the fish it holds, but rather for the tender whisper of the big forest included in the Stardew Valley expanded mod. My arms ached to hold the forage items it contains, my soul asking delicately yet insistently to be set free in the open air of this beautiful area. I pick up an artifact in an abandoned farmhouse along with maple syrup which I found in the northwest of the area. I continue gallivanting through this mystical place, my entire being feeling at peace. I find multiple ancient sword artifacts before happily passing out. It may not be as comfortable physically as sleeping in my bed, but spiritually and emotionally it is so much better. Day 3 is of course a rainy day, which means I do not have to water my seeds. Speaking of seeds, I have collected enough forage to make 60 spring seeds. I've also got a couple of mixed seeds on me. As I am planting everything, a light bulb goes off over my head. I have just had an idea. It has been a long time since I've made a ton of tea saplings and sold them to make a bunch of money in a playthrough. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I did that. So I think that is what I'm going to do. Which means I need to do 3 more things alongside growing spring seeds and collecting forage. Number 1, I need to get Caroline to 2 hearts of friendship so I can unlock the crafting recipe for tea saplings. Number 2, I need to get a ton of fiber, which won't be difficult at all because of how many weeds there are on this farm. And number 3, I need to get a ton of wood, which again should be really easy to do because of the absolute abundance of trees on this farm. I, for one, am extremely excited about the future tea sapling empire I will be assembling. There is no time for dilly-dallying though, as I use a warp totem to get to Durin's Rest. I engage in a lengthy battle with the local slime population before returning home and getting to work on building up my collection of fiber and mixed seeds. There wasn't actually a reason for me to fight those slimes in Durin's Rest, I just wanted to let them know that I'm here now and things are going to change. No longer shall they rule this land unopposed, for I, the scallywag sensation, the master of marvellous mischief, the dabbler in delightful deeds, the tomfoolery trooper, the horseplay hero has arrived and will not tolerate their nefarious actions. And by nefarious actions, I mean keeping to themselves, harming nobody, and just kind of staying out of everyone's way. But, let's just focus on what's actually important here, and that is the fact that I have collected a total of 48 mixed seeds today. I spend a bit of time fishing, but if I'm being completely upfront with you all, my heart simply is not in it. My brain is in action mode. If every neuron, every synapse, every brain cell is not engaged all the time, then I am doing something wrong. So I stopped fishing and instead focused on planting all of the seeds I picked up today, a much more valuable use of my time in my humble opinion. Clinty Winty pays us a visit on the morning of day 4. Thanks to the copper ore I acquired at the quarry area yesterday, he has decided to give us the crafting recipe for the furnace. Although I appreciate this show of good faith, I shall not be letting my guard down. If you have watched my other playthroughs, you probably know that my relationship with Clint is tumultuous at best and bad at worst. This man always finds a way to ruin my day, typically around the 100 days mark when I can't afford for anything to go wrong. Simply put, I would rather have Gordon Ramsay critique my cooking than be friends with Clint. And that says a lot considering I am fully capable of burning water. I can make a beautiful bowl of cereal though with a delicious side of slightly warm bread. Anyway, 5 villagers need our help at the bounty board. The most important one here is Lewis's quest. He wants a 4-leaf clover and will give us 1200 gold for giving him one. This is way too good to pass up. 4-leaf clovers are found in the big forest, so I will absolutely be going there today. I may not like Lewis, but I like money. Call me a baker because I'm all about that dough. That's the yeast of my worries at the moment though, as I must first focus on my friendship with Caroline. I present her with a daffodil, laying the groundwork for an eventual 2 hearts of friendship with her. I was hoping Gus would be selling a fish taco as Caroline loves them, but like a terrible game of Yahtzee, no dice. I buy 2 salads and head to the big forest, determined to find a 4-leaf clover. As there are Irish connotations associated with the 4-leaf clover, I think now is the perfect time to practice my Irish. So, I would like to share one of my favourite Irish phrases with you all. That phrase is Tu sma la na hibra. Short and sweet, this phrase translates to a good start is half the work. This is something I have tried to keep in mind during these first few days. I have been a very busy bee and I am sure that will continue for the remainder of spring, but it will all be worth it. I have a lot of footage of me walking through the forest, making spring seeds and planting all of my seeds, so while that footage plays, I'm going to give you all a 2-for-1 special on Irish phrases. With that being said, the second phrase is fearan slánta ná na tánta. This phrase means health is better than wealth. This is especially relevant here, as you will see in the coming days that all of the seeds I have planted end up having a detrimental effect on my well-being. Sure, harvesting all of these crops and forage items will earn us quite a bit of gold, but that comes with a price. That price being, it will take many minutes of my time to water these seeds every day. This will take a toll on me, both in terms of my character's energy and in terms of the vibes I am emitting. There will be days where the vibes will not be good, no, they will be bad, if not very bad. But I will persevere. I am nothing if not dedicated, and I will overcome this challenge. But more importantly, I will become so rich that I will literally have no idea what to spend my money on. On day 5, I am blessed with my favourite cutscene in the entire game. Marnie has dropped by the farm and she is accompanied by a dog. I'm sure you all know what is about to happen right here. I adopt the dog and lovingly name it Noodles. I would like to formally welcome Noodles to Lightman Farm. I have received a letter from a villager named Susan. She cannot access Pelican Town right now because a big boulder has separated her home in the mountain from the rest of the town. Do not fret, however, I am sure we will meet her at some point in the future. I cannot wait to ignore her when that happens. Not because I'm mean or anything like that, but rather because I have not mentally prepared myself to begin the process of working on my friendships with any villager besides Caroline. The local mine system has opened up. That is the entirety of this letter summed up. Joja really should hire someone else to write our letters. I feel like whoever wrote that letter was trying way too hard to make a short story long. Now that I think about it, I do the same thing when I write the scripts for my videos. Actually, I take back what I said. I, for one, am a massive fan of whoever wrote that letter. In fact, I feel like they deserve a pay raise. With my dignity tossed to the side, I begin the gargantuan task of watering all of my seeds. Did this take up a lot of my time? Yes. Did I regret planting all of these seeds? Yes. Will I learn from this and limit how many seeds I plant before I get access to sprinklers? Absolutely not. Who do you think I am? I use my mailbox to send the 4-leaf clover to Lewis, collecting my monetary reward immediately. I am now one happy camper. I also use the mailbox to send a daffodil to Caroline. I make use of the warp room on the farm to quickly make my way to the south, exiting the farm and entering the forest. I check out the travelling cart, but I don't buy anything. Right now, the item I would like to see the most is a garlic or a garlic seed. Pierre doesn't sell these until year 2, so I'm basically relying on the travelling cart to get access to garlic right now. I buy a few salads from Gus, then I accept a few orders, most of which I probably won't even complete. Clint does want coal though, so I feel like that's one I can actually do. I buy the first backpack upgrade, which reminds me actually, you may have noticed that I have 4 rows of inventory space. That 4th row was added by the bigger backpack mod. The price of that one is 50,000 gold, so it might be a while before I eventually buy it. I have made the executive decision to finally visit Ridgeside Village. I don't really do much here, in fact I don't even enter the actual village itself. Instead, I just do a bit of foraging. I do, however, find 2 mountain arugula, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, maybe not though, which I am very happy about because both Robin and Caroline wanted one. So, with both of those orders taken care of, I use a warp totem to get to Doran's Rest. I continue my mission to completely eradicate the slime population for no reason at all, really. I don't know why I keep doing this. Then I make my way to the mines in Pelican Town where I meet Marlon. Ordinarily, I would happily watch this cutscene and gratefully accept the sword he gives us, but I have the hammer Glorgan gave us, so although I respect you, Marlon, I'm afraid I must skip this cutscene. I enter the mines and begin the lengthy process of making it all the way to the final floor, floor 120. Of course, this will not happen today and probably will not even happen before spring is over, because knowing me, I'm going to get incredibly sidetracked by a bunch of different things. But for now, I am enjoying my escapades here. The hammer is making quick work of the slimes and other monsters, and I'm getting a delicious amount of copper ore. I call it a day when I reach floor 5 and begin the lengthy, very lengthy walk to the saloon. I show the copper ore I collected to Clint as part of the quest I accepted from him, and he rewards me with 200 gold. Back on the farm, I send the mountain arugula I collected in Ridgeside Village to Caroline and Robin to earn some more gold. But, more importantly, this also rewarded me with some bonus friendship points with Caroline. I decide to make the most of the remaining energy I have and do some mining at the quarry area on the farm before heading to Sleepy Town. Barley and parsnips are ready for harvest on day 6, what a magnificent start to the day. Watering my crops has gone from being an inconvenience to being slightly therapeutic and oddly relaxing. I'm sure that will change again soon, but I'm going to enjoy this feeling while it lasts. I have been sent some cookies in the mail, delightful. Marlon also lets us know that if we defeat 10 slimes, we can join his Adventurers Guild and enter his shop. Considering how many times I have battled that group of slimes in Durin's Rest for no reason at all, this is something that very much appeals to me. I watched the cutscene where Lewis shows us the community center. He is very disheartened by the state it is in and wants nothing more than for it to be rebuilt. Personally, if I was upset with something, I would work as hard and as passionately as I possibly could on improving whatever it happens to be. Lewis, on the other hand, has decided that the best course of action for him to take is to simply not do anything and hope that the community center simply rebuilds itself, I guess. You would think the mayor of Pelican Town would prioritize repairing such an important building, but I guess not. At this point, you might as well make Noodles my dog, the mayor of Pelican Town. As harsh as this is to say, I'm sure my dog would do a much better job than Lewis. I take a look at the calendar on the bounty board. That is a lot of birthdays and a lot of villagers that will not be receiving birthday presents from me. Caroline has requested a winter star rose. I will repeat that. A winter star rose. In spring. I am massively confused as to why she thinks I have access to a winter forage item during spring. In other news, I meet a villager named Floor just outside the community center. Let the bodies hit the floor. I can't be bothered making an actual joke with a setup and a punchline, but like, you know the song Let the Bodies Hit the Floor? It's like that, but Floor is spelled F-L-O-R because this villager's name is Floor. I apologize for that terrible joke. It will happen again. I will make jokes like that are just as bad, but I do apologize. I take a look at the golden scroll in the community center. Like the essays I wrote during my time in college, it makes absolutely zero sense. I return to the mines where I place a furnace beside a chest and toss my ores and coal into the chest. I am using the automate mod, which means the ores will automatically be placed into the chest and the bars will be taken from the furnace and placed back into the chest without me having to do anything. It is a very handy mod and I honestly struggle to play Stardew Valley without it. In terms of the mines, I end up making sort of decent progress today. Again, the hammer has proven to be very useful and has made these first few floors a lot easier than normal. I think now is a good time to mention that unlike some other playthroughs I've done, I'm not going all in and trying to make as much progress as possible as quickly as possible. I'm trying to take it easy and pace myself because there are a lot of things I'm going to have to do to achieve perfection. So realistically, I'll probably get everything done and reach perfection in year 4 maybe? I would say year 4 at the very earliest. I have played through Stardew Valley Expanded before and gotten perfection in that around the start of year 3 I think it was. So with all of the other mods I have installed, this is definitely going to be a really long playthrough. As long as I consistently have new things to discover and small goals to keep working towards, it should be a fun one all the way through. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to take my time with everything, not rush to achieve perfection, and most of all, just enjoy it. Back to the gameplay now. After reaching floor 15 in the mines and making sure my furnace is stocked with copper ore, I make my way to the saloon. I wanted to show Clint the coal I have to complete a quest he gave us. The problem is, he isn't here. So, in a desperate attempt to reach him before he goes inside his shop, I buy a coffee, drink it, and make a beeline for his shop. Unfortunately, I am too late. Clint is nowhere to be found, and I have just wasted my time and some money. I go to sleep and dream about throwing snails at Clint's front door. On day 7, I watched the Queen of Sauce TV show and learned how to make stir fry. This begins the lengthy process of watching this show every Sunday to learn all of the cooking recipes I can. The wizard has been spying on us and is aware that we have been poking around the community center, as he put it. Firstly, I was not poking around, I was just being nosy. Secondly, I do not appreciate you spying on me, you little rascal. Thirdly, I will happily pay you a visit and very much look forward to befriending you. After watering my seeds, I send a daffodil to Caroline. That is basically all of my socializing done for the day, so I am very happy. The traveling cart still is not selling a garlic or garlic seeds. That is not good at all. I visit the wizard where he teaches me how to read the language the scroll in the community center is written in. We can now begin donating items to the community center. I take a look and the foraging bundles have not changed. Something has gone very wrong here, very wrong indeed. I installed a mod that makes the community center bundles more challenging, but it does not seem to be working properly, which can only mean one thing. I have done something wrong. I will get this fixed before I start donating things to the community center. I teleport to Doran's Rest where there you go. I give 10 barley to Doran, completing his quest and unlocking a new one. This one requires us to craft the Dwarven Medium Malter. We then put Dwarven barley into it to make Dwarven barley malt and give 5 of this item to Doran. I return to the farm where I read a letter to unlock the crafting recipe for the malter. The bad news is I need an iron bar, an iridium bar, and durinium to create this machine, so it might be a while before I get around to completing this quest. But that's okay, like I said, I plan on taking it slow with this playthrough. I talked to Lewis to complete a quest he gave us. Let me make one thing very clear right now. I did not do this for him, I did it for the money. It's off to the mines for the rest of the day to continue frolicking around and overall just having a jolly good time. I replaced my hammer with the club and this made the mines even easier. The monster-only floors especially became a cakewalk with this weapon. I make it to floor 19, but I unfortunately pass out before I can make it to floor 20. On the morning of day 8, I harvest some potatoes that I've grown. I can use a scythe for this harvesting session as I have the Harvest with Scythe mod installed. While not an essential mod, it saves a bit of time, which considering how many crops I'll be growing during this playthrough is very nice. I have also managed to get the challenging Community Center Bundles mod working, and upon looking at the new bundles, I wish I had not gotten it working. This is going to be an absolute headache based on the foraging bundles alone, and you know what? I welcome that headache. In fact, I hope it evolves from a headache into a full-blown migraine. I welcome this challenge and I very much look forward to feeling my sanity steadily and continuously leaving my body, as I meticulously gather every single item needed for each and every single bundle in the community center. I will take every ounce of dedication, passion, willpower, drive and determination and use them to the fullest extent in order to conquer the community center. I mean, I could also just buy a JoJo membership, but where's the fun in that? Anywhomst, I read a few comments on the video I made about the farm I'm using and how it links to the mines. But for the life of me, I cannot figure out where to go in order to access the mines. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be in this cave here, but it's empty right now, so I must be doing something wrong, or maybe I'm missing something? I don't know. Hopefully I'll be able to figure it out soon, because being able to get to the mines from the farm would make life so much easier. I send a daffodil to Caroline. I really want that tea sapling crafting recipe, then I make use of the part of the community mod. This mod gives you bonus friendship points for doing things like talking to villagers, shipping items, and completing bundles in the community center. In this scenario, talking to villagers near Caroline gives me bonus friendship points with her. Next up is perhaps the most scandalous form of shenanigans I have ever participated in. I enter Harvey's shop and steal 2 stamina capsules. That's right, I have the shoplifter mod installed. I have just become a menace of the highest degree. Do I feel bad? No, not at all, especially considering those stamina capsules are worth 1000 gold. I return to the mines where I triumphantly make it to floor 20, redeeming myself after failing to do so yesterday. I make sure to keep my furnace going, returning to the surface every once in a while to do so. Floors 30 through 39 are, of course, the dark floors. Now, in the past, I have said I absolutely hate those floors as I always struggle to get through them. That is not the case anymore. When it comes to getting through the mines, I am easily top 2, and I ain't number 2.
Yeah!
That is a massive exaggeration, by the way. I'm actually pretty bad at getting through the mines. I just wanted to use that phrase. I pass out on floor 35. Day number 9 has dawned, and the first thing I do is head to the mines to collect 5 copper bars. I sell 2 stamina capsules and some other bits and bobs before entering Harvey's clinic. I wanted to do a bit of shoplifting, not a big deal, but Maru showed up and stopped that from happening. Well, I never. Maru, you have just been added to my list of enemies. I donate some gems and artifacts to the museum and collect the following rewards. Ancient Seed, the crafting recipe for ancient seeds, and 9 cauliflower and melon seeds. I talk to Clint to complete a quest he gave me, then I head back to Pierre's shop. I considered buying potato seeds, but I decided to go for spring seeds instead. If I'm going to make tea saplings, I want to make a lot of tea saplings. In fact, I want to make so many tea saplings that I end up turning into one big giant tea sapling myself. After sending my axe along with 5 copper bars to Clint in order to have it upgraded, I return to my full-time job as a farmer. It takes a bit of time to plant the seeds I have, and an even longer length of time to water everything, but I managed to get it all done. I spend the rest of the day clearing out fiber to get mixed seeds. I got so invested in this that I completely lost track of time and ended up passing out. Our first batch of spring forage is ready to harvest on day 10. This forage is used to make 130 spring seeds. That's good, that's very good even. However, it is not enough. I want dozens, if not millions, more spring seeds before I begin making tea saplings. I go to the clinic and participate in a little bit of tomfoolery, then I talk to Caroline. I also talk to Ian and Lewis, which gives me bonus friendship points with all 3 villagers, but of course the important one here is Caroline. This round of socializing was enough to bump Caroline up to 2 friendship hearts, which means her 2-heart cutscene has been unlocked. At this point, I should have gone back to the shop and entered Caroline's sunroom in order to watch this cutscene and unlock the crafting recipe for tea saplings, but I did not. Primarily because I wanted to continue making my way through the mines, but also because it is Wednesday, which means the shop is closed. So, although I wanted to watch that cutscene immediately, I could not as her husband is simply too lazy to work on Wednesdays. Despite that whole situation weighing heavy on my soul, I did manage to make considerable progress in the mines today. After making it to floor 40 and obtaining the slingshot, I returned to the surface to make sure my furnace is stocked with copper ore and coal. From there, I progress through the icy floors, gathering iron ore and quartz, which I also add to the furnace. I make it to floor 50 where I decide to call it a day. On day 11, I finally collect the doubloons Durin sent me after completing his quest to bring him 10 barley. A doubloon is the currency used in Durin's Rest, so I'm pretty excited to see what exactly I can buy with these. After a little harvesting session involving spring forage and strawberries, I check my mail. Clint has sent us the upgraded copper axe. This mail services mod is an absolute blessing, it really does save quite a bit of time. I make 60 spring seeds, okay, nice, I believe I now have a total of 190 spring seeds. I teleport to Durin's Rest where I become reacquainted, shall we say, with the slimes here. Alright, I think it's time to let you all know why I actually do this. These slimes can drop some pretty nice items. I know for a fact they can drop diamonds and refined quartz. This is why I have been coming to this area and defeating them as often as I have been. Unfortunately though, I have had zero luck when it comes to getting either of these items, which is deeply upsetting. In the market, we can buy some boosts with the doubloons we have, which is, nice, but at the same time, the more useful boots cost upwards of 1,200 doubloons, which we do not have right now. We can also use doubloons to buy hats, which I will keep in mind. Finally, various bars can be bought here too. I end up grabbing 5 iron bars, and I'm sure I'll come back to the shop in the future to get iridium bars. I have quite a bit of footage of me chopping down trees. Truth be told, I do not know why I recorded all of this. Normally when this happens, it means there is something important I want to discuss, hence me getting enough footage to play in the background while I talk about this very important topic. The problem is, I completely forget what I wanted to talk about while footage of me chopping down trees plays. This whole segment has been a complete waste of time. There's no moral to the story or punchline or anything like that. Wait, no, actually, literally as I'm saying all of this, I've just remembered what I wanted to talk about, and that is tea saplings. So by the time I unlock the crafting recipe for tea saplings, I should have around 200 spring seeds. You need 2 spring seeds to make 1 tea sapling, which means I will be able to make 100 of them. That also requires 500 fiber and 500 wood, which explains why I specifically chose to get footage of me chopping down trees. It all makes sense now. Luckily, when it comes to wood and fiber, there is an abundance of both items on this farm, and I've already got hundreds of fiber. Assuming everything goes to plan, we will make 50,000 gold from the sale of these tea saplings, as they sell for 500 gold each. I enter Caroline's sunroom where the cutscene does not play. I believe I have arrived too late. That is unfortunate, but rather than blame myself for being late, I am instead going to blame Pierre. His shop wasn't open yesterday, and if it was, then I could have watched the cutscene yesterday, avoiding this whole kerfuffle completely. As payment for the inconvenience he has caused me, I permanently borrow several items in his shop, including 5 pomegranate saplings. I utilize my upgraded axe to break a few tree stumps on the farm before spending the rest of the night chopping down trees. Not only does this give us wood, but it also rewards us with foraging XP. This was the push I needed to reach foraging level 5, where I choose the perk that gives me a chance to obtain 2 of any forage item I pick up. That being said, the other perk that gives us 25% more wood would also have been a great choice. I head to the community center on day 12 where I complete my first bundle, the construction bundle. Hardwood, fiber, wood fences, wood, stone, sap and clay are all needed for this one. The reward for doing this is a workbench. I normally use the workbench when I'm crafting every item at the end of a playthrough, so I guess I'll be able to use this one when I do that during year 5 or year 6, or I don't know how long this is going to take really. I take a look at the new bundles I've unlocked and I think it's safe to say that this is indeed going to be challenging. Truth be told, the spring crops and quality crop bundles might already be a lost cause. I shall do my best, however, to complete the community center by the end of winter. I have zero faith in myself to actually do that, but I'm hoping me saying this out loud will make the universe take pity on me and I will somehow get everything I need for these bundles. Taking a look at the fishing bundles completely eradicates any and all faith I have in my ability to get the community center done before winter ends. I talked to Shane and Yuma in the town center. I am very proud of myself for getting out of my comfort zone and socializing with people. Then I perform the ultimate scallywag maneuver. I sell the pomegranate saplings I stole from Pierre back to Pierre for 6,000 gold. This has boosted my confidence, so I take a look at the spring crops bundle to keep myself humble. I buy 40 parsnip seeds and 20 blue jazz, tulip and kale seeds before finally watching Caroline's 2-heart cutscene. A weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I feel like I can achieve anything and everything, and yet all I want to do is cry because the travelling cart is still not selling a garlic or garlic seed. I do get a rare seed though, so take the good with the bad and all that. I plant all of the seeds I bought, then I watch a cutscene where the best mayor in the entire world complains about the large rock that has separated Susan from the rest of Pelican Town. Instead of, actually working on getting rid of the rock, which I feel would have been a much better use of time than just complaining about it, but hey, what do I know? I collect my iron and copper bars from the mines and send my pickaxe to Clint so he can upgrade it to copper. I water all of my seeds, then I make 10 spring seeds, which brings us to a total of 200. Beautiful. My master plan is going perfectly. The tea sapling empire shall thrive very soon. I've got just a little bit of time left at the end of the day, which I spent gathering some last minute wood and fiber. Caroline has blessed us with the crafting recipe for tea saplings on day 13. This is what the last 12 days have been building up to. This is what I've strived to achieve this entire time. I have wasted many minutes of your lives trying to explain my very straightforward plan in a very complicated way. Allow me to be complicated no more. I make 100 tea saplings and toss them into the shipping bin, securing a 50,000 gold payment tonight. With that out of the way, I attend the Egg Festival. I spent some time talking to the villagers as this is a good way to introduce myself to more of them. I buy a very small number of strawberry seeds. That was actually very humbling, and the egg hunt begins. Like I've said in previous playthroughs, I do not mess around when it comes to this competition. The prize for winning is the beautiful straw hat, and I do not just want that hat, I need that hat. I need it more than you could ever imagine. So winning this egg hunt is not just an option, it is the solution. Nay, it is the one reality in which I want to exist. Upon returning to the farm, I plant my 6 strawberry seeds, but more importantly, I put on my straw hat. My spirits have been rejuvenated, my soul has been soothed, but above all else, my bank account is looking absolutely delicious thanks to the tea saplings I shipped this morning. I learned how to make coleslaw on day 14. From this point forward, I will not mention watching the Queen of Sauce TV show unless I run out of things to talk about. Which realistically shouldn't happen during the first 2 years, maybe even 3 years considering how much content has been added by all of the mods I'm using. Demetrius says he will set up a mushroom cave for us, then I receive my copper pickaxe from Clint. I immediately send this pickaxe back to him along with some iron bars to be upgraded again. The travelling cart is selling oil of garlic. It feels like they're taunting me with that one, so to get back at them, I give them some of my hard-earned gold in exchange for a coffee bean, a rare seed, and a rice shoot. I take a moment to completely embarrass myself as I fail to break the log in front of the secret woods. Then I buy 25 green bean seeds and 250 potato seeds along with 200 mixed seeds. I pick up cherry, apricot, and peach saplings along with 100 coffee beans. I began the day with over 50,000 gold. I now have 10,000 gold. I make poor financial decisions. I take a look at what Robin is selling. Thanks to the shop overhaul mod, items like oak resin, tree fertilizer, hardwood, kegs, and garden pots are available to buy. I buy 10 kegs, then I spend the rest of the day planting all of the potato seeds I bought along with an ancient seed I had. I did not plant my mixed seeds or green beans, but I did get my potato seeds watered, so a win is a win. I get extremely lucky on day 15 as it is a rainy day, but again, if there is one thing I prioritize, it is keeping myself humble. So I take a look at the spring crops bundle to remind myself that I still have not gotten access to a garlic. We also need rhubarb for this bundle, which means we need to unlock the vault bundle and complete it in its entirety in order to access the bus which can be used to access the desert. Or at least that's what I would have to do if it wasn't for the walk to the desert mod. As the title of this mod implies, it allows me to walk to the desert from the bus stop. It is quite a trek and does take a couple of minutes, but it will absolutely be worth it. I also find salmon berries along the way, which makes things even better. There are enemies around the place, but they can be avoided relatively easily, so it's not a big deal. Along the way, I stop at a deserted town. Completely devoid of any villagers, I spend some time searching the place, but find nothing. Maybe if I come back in the future, we could find something interesting here. But for now, I continue marching ahead, reaching the desert shortly after this. I take a walk around the area, collecting coconuts and cactus fruit before entering the shop here and meeting the owner of said shop, Sandy. She believes that us being here means the bus is up and running again. No, it isn't, but I'm too excited about buying rhubarb seeds to even consider telling her how I actually got to the desert. I end up buying 25 rhubarb seeds and 25 beet seeds before getting on the bus and going back to Pelican Town. I guess technically the bus is up and running again, so Sandy was actually correct. I plant my rhubarb seeds, then I spend the rest of the day chopping down trees. Day 16 is the most glorious of days, a rainy day. Joja veggies, parsnips, cauliflower, and strawberries are all ready for harvest, which makes today a solid 10 out of 10. Clint has also sent us our pickaxe in the mail. That is splendid. I take the kegs I purchased from Robin and set them up beside a chest. I toss my coffee beans into them. In a couple of minutes we will have a nice batch of coffee ready to consume. Also, a few mushrooms are ready to collect in our mushroom cave, so I gather those. I also am still massively confused when it comes to going to the mines from this farm. I have no idea how it works. I don't even know if I'm going into the right cave or if I'm in the right area of the farm. I hope I'll be able to figure it out before I reach the bottom of the mines, but I don't have much faith that I will, if I'm being honest. I collect some coffees that have been brewing in the kegs and head to the mines to continue working my way through the floors. The iron pickaxe is proving to be an invaluable acquisition as it makes getting through these floors easier and quicker than ever before. I pick up a diamond on floor 69, which makes me feel very happy. I take a quick break to throw some ores and quartz into the furnace, then it's back to business. I make sure to defeat any skeletons I come across and collect the bones they drop. Durin will give us access to the mines in Durin's Rest if I give him 30 of these, and that is something that really piques my interest. I make it all the way to floor 76 where I pass out. I was not able to get all of the bones I need, but I did make some good progress on it. I've also kept the furnace stocked with quartz and iron bars, which I can eventually use to make quality sprinklers. A beautiful amount of spring forage is ready on day 17, which I harvest and turn into 150 spring seeds. I have also collected a few Joja veggies. These sell for around 1000 gold each, so I'll be tossing every one of these I get into kegs. I make over 50 tea saplings and plant the mixed seeds I bought a couple of days ago. This is not an easy task and requires me to clear out even more space on the farm. At a certain point, I'm just going to have to clear out this entire field because, truth be told, it would not surprise me if I eventually end up planting over 1000 seeds here. I would like to have enough quality sprinklers to water around 400 or 500 seeds before I do that though. I toss my tea saplings into the shipping bin and spend the rest of the day watering my seeds. The CEO of the weather must have a soft spot for me as it is raining on day 18. This would always be a good thing at the start of every playthrough, but especially for this one as I have over 600 seeds planted at the very least, I would estimate. I head to my home away from home, the mines. As always, my goal is to make it as far as I can through the remaining floors, although I am very much focusing on collecting bones too. I pick up a bone sword on floor 78, which is an upgrade I will gratefully accept. Although I am only a couple of bones away from the target of 30, I must put that mission on pause for the moment as I have made it past the icy floors. Skeletons will not spawn past this point. This is a heartbreaking sacrifice indeed, although it quickly pays dividends as I reach floor 90 and obtain the obsidian edge sword. Despite my best efforts, however, I was not able to make it to floor 95 before I passed out. I did reach level 5 in farming though, and I chose the perk that gives a 10% bonus to the money I earned from selling crops. Jacob wanted us to give him a diamond, so I used my mailbox to do that on the morning of day 19, earning 2,250 gold. I harvest some blue jazz, which I need for the community center. I water around half of my seeds before I make a quick detour to the mines. I collect the ores and coal inside my chest here along with the 2 furnaces before heading to the saloon. I treat myself to a pizza here. Well, I say treat myself, but in reality I will be sending this pizza to Shane as I accepted a quest to give him one. I return to the farm where the smelting station has been moved from the mines to this little area beside our field of crops. Just like day 17, the rest of the day is spent watering our seeds. Day 20 is finally potato harvest day. I can feel any tidbits of sadness leaving my body as I swing my scythe across a field of beautiful potatoes. My inventory is filling up with potatoes in the same way my body is filling up with complete unfiltered happiness. I sell these potatoes to Pierre, earning around 30,000 gold. Quality sprinklers are now being sold. I pick up 30 of these along with 4 seed makers. I do want to clarify that both of these items have been added by the shop overhaul mod I mentioned previously. Quite frankly, I have no idea what to buy with the remainder of my money. While it is tempting to grab hundreds of seeds, I instead opt for a further 23 quality sprinklers, giving us a total of 53. The hard work never stops. In fact, one might even say the work has only gotten harder as I spend the rest of the day placing these sprinklers while planting any and all seeds I have. I wanted to make sure the existing seeds would also be watered, which means some of them had to go bye-bye. As in, I used my pickaxe to destroy a seed and put a sprinkler in its place. I did this multiple times, and it was a soul-crushing experience each and every time. It was worth it, however, as now every single seed I have planted will be watered, except for those in the top row of crops, but that's okay. Alright, day 21, we have officially reached the end of our 3rd week on the farm, and I am feeling really good about the progress that has been made here. especially when it comes to our seeds, specifically the watering aspect, which, as I mentioned, has been almost entirely automated thanks to the quality sprinklers I purchased. We have received a lovely pink cake in the mail, an item which I am, as always, thrilled to receive. I make my way to the community centre where I donate blue jazz to the spring crops bundle. I also donate horseradishes, daffodils and salmonberries to the spring foraging bundle. Next on the agenda is a trip to the mines where the goal is to obtain a couple more bone fragments in order to progress with Duran's storyline. This, thankfully, does not take long at all as there is an abundance of skeletons in the mines. Once I have obtained the bones I need, I return to the farm, collect my warp totems and teleport to Duran's Rest. I decide not to start a fight with the slimes here. It seems I am now an entirely different person after acquiring quality sprinklers. Perhaps having to water all of those had hidden negative effects on my psyche that caused me to aggressively attack the slimes here. I give the bones to Duran, who rewards us with 200 doubloons. That is nice, of course, but the real reward here is we now have access to the mines in this lovely little town. I take a moment to browse the wares that Duran is selling. This is something I wish I had done sooner, as it turns out he is selling fish taco. Caroline loves this item, so buying some of those would have sped up the process of obtaining the tea sapling crafting recipe. But that's alright, it worked out well in the end. I enter the mines where the benefit of this area makes itself known immediately. There is a ton of copper ore on the first level. This could be quite the lucrative location when it comes to gathering ore in the future. This benefit increases tenfold on the second floor as iron ore appears here too. Zombies also show up on this floor. Maybe they drop some valuable loot? We shall find out soon, I reckon. Floor 3 is very similar to floor 2, but with even more ore. I am loving this mine already. If I can get my hands on some bombs, I could easily get 100 or maybe 200 copper and iron ore on floors 2 and 3. There is also a chest here that contains duranium. The dark yellow / dark gold pillars also drop duranium when you break them. It is getting late, however, so I'm going to call it here for the day. Day 22 begins with a mini harvesting session, then I use 300 wood to repair the broken bridge at the beach. This opens up the tide pool area, which should be useful in the future if I can figure out how to get a mod I installed up and running. I won't spoil it right now, but I will be sure to point this mod out when I do begin using it in the future. I enter Glorgan's home where he has a request for us. If we can bring him 40 duranium, he will make us duranium armor. I shall get to work on this as soon as I possibly can in Glorgan. I'm sure that armor will prove to be quite useful. I give 10 zombie flesh to Duran as he requested, earn 500 doubloons for doing so, and return to my new favourite area, the mines. As tempting as it is to mine all of the copper and iron ore, I instead focus my attention on getting to floor 3 so I can defeat more zombie foremen. These drop a special type of zombie flesh and Duran wants 5 of these. This type of enemy, as I discovered yesterday, is quite the challenge, although I thankfully managed to take care of them without too much hassle. There were multiple close calls, but I emerged from the battle victorious, though not unscathed. It is slightly nerve-wracking taking on opponents as difficult as these, but nothing worth having is ever easy to obtain. I progressed to floor 4, where serpent-like monsters have started appearing. The small ones prove to be easy enough to tackle. The large ones are also fairly easy, surprisingly enough. I make it to the door in the middle of this area where upon entering it, I encounter a character called Tenebra. Although we have proven our strength by making it through the labyrinth, we must now prove our intelligence by answering 3 questions. Question 1. How many letters are there in the Dwarven alphabet? Making a complete guess, I say 18, which ends up being the correct answer. Nice. Question 2 is a riddle, which is good news for me because I love riddles. I answer this one correctly, which takes us on to question 3. This is also a riddle, which is very much up my alley, as I said. I am very thankful that these are the questions I have to answer. Again, I choose the correct option, definitively proving my intelligence. See, I knew there was a few brain cells floating around in my head. The chest in this area contains a life elixir which, like pretty much every other item I've found in the mines here, is very useful. I use the teleportation station, which has now been added to the 4th floor, to travel to Tenebra's home. Killer bees can be found here. They drop shadow honey, which is worth just a little bit more than 1000 gold. Just like the mines, I think this is going to be a very lucrative area for us in terms of boosting our bank account. If I can get the crafting recipe for Monster Musk, it should increase the spawn rate of these bees, which, assuming I can defeat them all, will mean I will have a metric ton of shadow honey at my disposal. Interesting, very interesting indeed. I add some ores to my furnace and toss the items I collected during today's adventure into the shipping bin. I did hold on to the zombie foreman flesh, however, as Duran wants that. These items earn me 40,000 gold. Alright, I think we found another moneymaker to go alongside our tea saplings. The morning of day 23 features another mini harvest, though at this point I think I've obtained all of the spring crops available to us at the moment. I have yet to decide how many mixed seeds I want to plant during summer. I might just focus on starfruit and summer seeds instead. We'll see. It's off to Duran's Rest, an area which I am sure I will become very well acquainted with now that I have discovered how valuable the items in the mines in Tenebra's home are. I enter the mines and make a beeline for the 3rd floor. There was actually zero dilly-dallying on my part. My goal here is to obtain 3 more zombie foreman flesh in order to complete Duran's quest, as he wants 5 of them. These enemies are especially nasty today, and I had quite a few close calls. I am very grateful to myself for bringing as many crops as I did, because my health dropped pretty low several times, and by pretty low I mean I actually got knocked out. That's not good at all. Dare I even say it is bad. Things go from bad to very bad, as I have lost 700 doubloons and my obsidian edge sword. But such is the risk you take on the road to fortune. I enter the saloon where I could have done a bit of shoplifting, but I respect Gus too much to do that. I have not, am not, and am never going to steal from Gustavo. I buy 50 of each spring seed as an insurance policy, we'll call it. How am I going to grow these seeds when spring ends, you may be asking? One word: garden pot. We can buy 10 of these per day thanks to the shop overhaul mod, so I'm going to make very good use of that. My goal here will be to fill a shed with them and plant our spring seeds in there. I also made the realization today that garden pot is not 1 word, but 2 words. I am tremendously surprised by that and feel slightly foolish. I grab 3 iridium sprinklers to cheer myself up after that certified silly goose moment I just had. I consume some salal berries to restore my health and energy after the unfortunate events that occurred in the mines earlier today, grab some food from the chests on the farm, and return to Duran's Rest. Oh, you thought I was done today? Nah, not even close. You see, I may have been knocked down, but I get up again. You are never gonna keep me down. I return to the mines with vengeance on my mind and determination in my heart. I obtain a bit of duranium, and then I use a warp totem to get back to the spawn area of Duran's Rest. Then I teleport back to the bus stop. Because I don't have a weapon. I forgot I lost it earlier today. In a very ironic and very, very cruel twist of fate, I also lose my pickaxe upon teleporting back to the bus stop. Like, it's gone. I don't know what happened to it, but it's just not there anymore. I am tremendously confused by this. Every fibre of my being wants nothing more than to eat an entire 5 tubs of ice cream and forget this day ever happened. The lost and found box in Lewis's house does not contain my pickaxe, which means I will have to return here tomorrow to see what exactly the story is with that. I do rectify another situation though, that being the case of my missing obsidian edge sword. I ask Marlin to deliver it to me tomorrow. I also take a look at his shop. He's selling various rings that could be quite valuable in the future among other items. But for now I must pass on them as I am broke. Not for long though, as the Joja veggies I threw into the kegs have been turned into Joja veggie juice, which should sell for quite a bit of money. Marlin has sent us our sword on day 24, which brightens my mood substantially. Now all I have to do is get my pickaxe and we will be back on track. Speaking of, Lewis has sent us a letter informing us that our pickaxe was dropped into the lost and found box last night. I head to his house. It is locked because today is the flower festival. That's okay, I can come back tomorrow. In the meantime, I attend the flower festival where I talk to all of the villagers that are present here. There are quite a few of them, which is good news for us as it means I can now send gifts to all of these people using the mailbox. I probably won't do this for a while, but at least they'll be there when I do get around to working on my friendships. I buy the tub of flowers crafting recipe and a rare crow, then I abstain from the dancing portion of the festival. I am far too preoccupied with getting my pickaxe back to even think about partaking in an activity such as dancing. In all seriousness though, I really do need to get my pickaxe back tomorrow. It cannot be overstated how vital that tool is to me being able to earn a ton of gold. And the more gold I have, the better the beginning of summer will be for us. Lewis pays us a visit on day 25. He is impressed with the progress we have made here on Lightman Farm and is very happy that I'm getting along with all of the villagers and making friends. I wanted to steal from Harvey, but his clinic was closed unfortunately, so my plan was foiled. I finally obtained my pickaxe from the lost and found box. Lovely, today is already a successful day in my eyes. I buy 10 garden pots, a purchase I will be making very frequently if not daily for the foreseeable future. I teleport to Doran's Rest and enter the mines. We have a problem. Immediately upon using my pickaxe, something feels off. It no longer takes just one hit to break rocks. Something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. I brush it off, convincing myself that the rocks have just somehow gotten stronger and require more than one hit to break. Of course, that is not possible. What has actually happened is the pickaxe I retrieved from the lost and found box is the starter pickaxe, not the iron pickaxe I had. I would be lying if I said this did not upset me a great deal, but like the hardened adventurer I am, I push forward, hiding my tears behind a mask of determination. All of that determination is used to defeat another long serpent to get the Ouroboros ring it drops. They are quite valuable with a sale price of 4,000 gold, so I will take as many of them as I can possibly get. With money on my mind, I teleport to the home of the killer bees where I spend most of the night defeating them to get shadow honey. I get knocked out and once again I lose my obsidian edged sword. In my defense though, I did not realize how hard those bees hit. I went from half a bar of health to 0 in one hit. That was not very chill of the killer bee. Something else that is not that chill happened. Marlin's shop is closed, so I have to wait until tomorrow to ask him to return my sword again. I make a Doran's Rest warp totem and use it. I am slightly embarrassed to admit this, but it is only in this moment that I realized you don't use up the warp totem if you use it while you're on the farm, among other locations. I will keep that in mind. Some bad news now, as I have the Durinium that Glorgan asked for and the zombie form and flesh that Duran asked for, but both of their homes are locked. On day 26, I finally make a Dwarven medium malter. This is the machine I need to toss the barley into in order to get the item Duran wants as part of the quests he has that revolve around crops and artisan goods. I head to Clint's where with a heavy heart I hand over 5 copper bars and 2,000 gold so he can upgrade my pickaxe. I could have done this with the mailbox, but the events of yesterday have clearly clouded my judgment. In other words, I forgot I can use the mailbox to upgrade my tools. I ask Marlin to find my sword, warp to Doran's Rest and give 5 Foreman flesh to Duran, completing his quest. He now wants 2 Ouroboros rings. This is going to be difficult. Not when it comes to obtaining the rings, but rather when it comes to handing them over. As I mentioned, they sell for 4,000 gold each, so I will essentially be throwing away 8,000 gold. But that is something I am ready, willing and able to do for Duran as a thank you for providing us access to the mines that have given us so much valuable loot. Next stop is the market where I give Glorgan the 40 Durinium he asked for. I use my doubloons to get 2 iridium bars. With that completed, I return to Pelican Town where I sell my shadow honey to give my bank account a boost and purchase 10 garden pots. I use the refined quartz, iron bars and gold bars I have to make 25 quality sprinklers. I spend the rest of the day clearing out the trees to make space for the planting of crops during summer. Marlin sends us our sword on day 27. That is a delightful start to the day. Pierre has also sent us a letter informing us that we can use a bouquet to date someone in Pelican Town and the greater Stardew Valley region. If you've seen my previous playthroughs, you probably know that I tend to ask Krobus to be my roommate instead of dating a villager. I will be doing something similar here. It might be Krobus, or if there's somebody else that can be my roommate, then I will probably ask them instead. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, it is off to Doran's Rest. I am spending quite a bit of time here, I know, but I would very much like to go through all of the combat/exploration quests that Doran has for us. just so I can check one storyline, I guess we'll call it, off the list. I grab the suit of armor Glorgan made for us from the 4 chests inside his home. The boots are the only item in this set that say they provide us with bonus defense, so I don't think I need to wear the other 3 parts to get this bonus, but I'll wear it for now. It does look kinda cool. I enter the mines where I defeat pretty much every enemy I come across. Bear in mind, Clint still has my pickaxe, so I can't break rocks outside of using bombs. But I can still get some pretty valuable items from the enemies inside here. Once I acquire the Ouroboros ring, I leave the mines as I now have 2 of them. I give these to Durin, who rewards me with a new weapon, Durin's Warhammer. Neat. His next quest requires us to meet Tenebra. Luckily, I've already done so, which means I can simply warp to her home and immediately watch the cutscene where she gives us a quest. This one is simple, though it comes with a cost. She wants 10 shadow honey. Getting this honey should be easy, we've done it before after all. However, 10 shadow honey sells for over 10,000 gold. I don't really like the idea of giving all of that away, but I shall do it as I am nothing if not dedicated to the residents of Durin's Rest. With crisp trepidation, I get to work on defeating the bees here. I obtain 12 shadow honey, then I get knocked out. Luckily, I did not lose my weapon this time. What I did lose, however, is all of my honey. As has become tradition, I make my way to Marlin's where he wants over 12,000 gold in return for giving me back the honey I lost. I think I'm going to cry. On day 28, I learned how to make an omelette. No, I don't. I said I wasn't going to mention the Queen of Sauce TV show anymore. Clint has sent us our copper pickaxe, and a plethora of spring forage is ready to harvest. Alright, I'm liking this. Let's try to keep the good news train on its tracks. I would very much like to end spring on a positive note. Especially after the numerous kerfuffles I've endured during the last few days. I complete the spring foraging bundle in the community centre, except I don't because I brought daffodils instead of dandelions. I feel a bit silly, but it's okay because after making a few bombs, I return to the community centre, donate some strawberries and finish the spring foraging bundle. I receive 30 fertilizer as a reward and the boiler room bundles have now been unlocked. I take a look at these bundles and they're not bad at all. I'm actually looking forward to tackling all of the bundles in this room. The only iffy one is the Monster Musk, as you unlock the crafting recipe for it after completing a special order for the wizard. But that bundle only requires you to donate 6 of the 7 items it has, so I don't have to get the Monster Musk if I don't want to. I make 75 tea saplings and toss these along with some items I picked up in the mines into the shipping bin. I head to the bee area where I very carefully take on the bees in order to obtain the honey Tenebra wants. And when I say very carefully, I mean very carefully. I am not taking any chances here. I'm taking on each bee one at a time to make sure I do not get knocked out. I give the honey to Tenebra and receive a new weapon. It is a dagger, which while I'm not too fond of the dagger weapons, this is actually a really cool one. I earn almost 50,000 gold from the items I shipped today, and that is the end of spring. It took quite a while, but we finally made it to the end of the season. I am very much looking forward to seeing what happens in summer. I basically ignore a letter from Joja Mart to begin day 29. They want me to buy a Joja membership. I will not be tempted by such scandalous temptations. I will complete the community centre regardless of how long it takes me to do so. And more importantly, regardless of how much of a toll it takes on my soul. I've got some free time before Durin's house opens up, so I head to the mines to very quickly decimate the slime population within and collect some copper ore. I move on to floor 2, repeating the process, though this time I am dealing with zombies instead of slimes. This proves to be nothing short of cathartic. It is incredibly satisfying defeating these enemies and picking up the valuable loot they drop. Despite Durin's house opening at 9 AM, I continue on to floor 3 at 10:30 AM. This was not a conscious choice on my part. I simply did not realize how much time had gone by. Though I will say, I cannot even fathom a more enjoyable way to spend my morning. Despite the urge to remain in the mines and continue going further, I am eventually forced to leave the mines when my health drops to a smidge above 0. I pushed my luck just a little bit too far, but thankfully the consequences of that were not dire. If they had been, and I had been knocked out because of it, it would have had a disastrous effect on my vibes. I head into Doran's home and speak to him. He does not have a quest available for us. I feel like I have made a slight error, maybe I'm in the wrong location or something like that. I take a look at the goods he is selling. A lot of cooking recipes are available for purchase. Like, a lot. Suddenly, the requirement to cook every dish in order to achieve perfection has become a lot more difficult, but as always, I am nothing if not dedicated. This is but a minor obstacle on the road to perfection. In the market, Balor is selling seeds of various types. I'm not going to buy any right now, but I will keep this in mind in the future should I require any of these seeds. Something to note is that he sells artichoke seeds, which Pierre only begins to sell during year 2. So at least we have a reliable way of getting those seeds now, rather than just relying on the travelling cart. I head back into Pelican Town. I have decided to put the whole Doran's Rest thing to the side for the moment while I figure out what I have to do there next. I talk to Demetrius at the fountain by the community centre, a conversation which I actually enjoy. I let him know about the sprinklers I have on my farm. I like to dabble in a little bit of flexing from time to time. A trip to the saloon is on the table now, as I require many cups of coffee to ensure I have a nice pep in my step. I also buy a couple of salads while I'm here and immediately inhale them to restore my health. I do something I probably should have done a lot sooner. I ask Robin to build a shed on the farm. The garden pots I acquired during spring will be placed in here. So I will be able to plant the spring seeds I bought for community centre purposes. Robin is also selling quite a few nice things. Kegs, preserve jars, hardwood, among other useful items are being sold here thanks to the shop overhaul mod. She too is selling garden pots, so I buy 20 of them. I head into Pierre's at just the right moment to watch him walk away from the counter. This, under normal circumstances, would be annoying at best. However, this was something I actually wanted to happen right now. It means I can partake in a bit of shoplifting. I get my grubby little hands on 4 pomegranate saplings along with 4 Joja veggies. In total, these are worth around 10,000 gold, so I have absolutely no regrets and I will be doing this again in the future. I send my pickaxe to Clint so he can upgrade it to iron quality, then I toss some items into the shipping bin to give our bank account a little boost after the shopping spree I went on today. I spend the rest of the day fishing. I won't show me fishing often as it's pretty much the same thing every time. But rest assured I will be doing as much fishing as possible any and every time I get the chance. We need so many fish for the community centre, it is quite frankly unbelievable. And the last thing I want to do is fall behind on that, or even worse, fail to repair the community centre before the end of the year because I dilly-dallied for too long when it comes to fishing. On day 30, I send gifts to Arwen, Balor and Edris. I believe what I need to do to unlock the next quest in Doran's Rest is reach 1 heart of friendship with these 3 villagers. So that is what I shall do. I also had to do that with Doran and Glorgan, but I've already achieved quite a few friendship hearts with them thanks to the quests I completed for both of them. I set up a little area for my seed makers and toss my salal berries and Joja berries into a chest beside the seed makers. Joja berries sell for around 900 gold, I believe, and salal berries are a fantastic source of energy, so I would like to plant as many of these 2 seeds as I can. I begin the long walk to the desert, making time to blow up some rocks along the way to get some ores and gems. Upon reaching the desert, I do some foraging before entering Sandy's shop and spending all of my money on starfruit seeds. When I return home, it is time to knuckle down and get to work on planting various seeds. I begin with the starfruit seeds I just bought, then I follow that up with the planting of Joja berry seeds and salal berry seeds. I'm getting a bit of deja vu here, I must say. This is giving me flashbacks to the Stardew Valley expanded playthrough I uploaded last year, where I did pretty much the same thing. I planted hundreds of Joja berry seeds at one point. Maybe I will do that again here? Maybe? I guess it depends on what other seeds I can get my hands on. I want to get started on making and planting summer seeds as soon as I possibly can, so the rest of the day is spent walking around the big forest collecting summer forage. Tea saplings, as we saw during spring, are an excellent source of gold in the early game, so that's going to be the meta for a while. Basically, I want to make hundreds if not thousands of tea saplings during summer. Day 31 begins with a little text box informing me that there was an explosion during the night. Immediately upon leaving the house, I watch a cutscene where Susan introduces herself to us in person. She is no longer separated from the town as the boulder that was blocking her way in was destroyed last night. I do a bit of harvesting following this cutscene, which results in me obtaining Joja veggies, salal berries, and ghost berries. Clint has sent our pickaxe back to us. That is wonderful news. Hopefully I don't misplace it again, shall we say? I decide to make good use of the space available to me and place quality sprinklers on the farm. I then enter the shed that Robin built for me and begin placing my garden pots. The veteran Stardew Valley players that are watching right now might be aware that sprinklers do not work on garden pots. Luckily, I am also a veteran Stardew Valley player, so I remembered this pretty soon after I began to place the garden pots and quality sprinklers. I quickly fix my mistake and fill up the shed in a much more effective manner. I decide to focus on green beans, cauliflower and potatoes first, planting the seeds for each of these crops. Of course, I will have to water them manually every day, but that is a small price to pay, as this is pretty much the only way to complete the spring crops bundle in the community center. I toss a spiceberry into a seed maker, as that should give us another pack of summer seeds. I clear out just a teeny bit more space. I didn't have to, but it's honestly very satisfying chopping down trees and breaking rocks and just clearing out the mess on the farm. Then I finally begin planting all of the summer seeds I made using the forage I collected during the last 2 days. I'm not done yet though, as I also want to plant coffee beans. I would eventually like to have a shed full of kegs that are constantly producing coffee. I continue working on my friendships with the residents of Durin's Rest, as I am very excited to continue making progress in that area. I am very much in need of some financial aid, as I am currently the opposite of rich, so I head to the home of the bees in Durin's Rest. I spend the rest of the night defeating them in order to obtain their oh so valuable honey. It still amazes me that this honey is worth over 1000 gold, but I certainly will not complain about it. In fact, I am very grateful for it. I harvest a pearl on day 32, which is not a sentence I ever thought I would say. Truth be told, I do not know which mod has added a seed that grows pearls, as this one grew from a mixed seed. That is a mystery I will investigate in the future. I doubt I will go out of my way to buy or somehow obtain this seed in the future too, but it's nice knowing that we can grow a pearl. They're worth a few thousand gold and pretty much every villager loves them, so they will be nice gifts in the future. Willie has sent me a letter informing us that his friend Murphy has arrived in town. Murphy would like someone to assist him on his fishing trawler. You remember back in spring, I repaired the broken bridge at the beach and unlocked the tide pool area? I mentioned that that area will be useful in the future when it comes to a mod I installed but was not able to get working yet. Well, good news, I was able to get that mod working. It turns out I was using an outdated version of it, but that's all sorted now, so we are good. Basically, this mod, the fishing trawler mod, allows you to go on Murphy's boat and do a bunch of different activities to keep the boat running smoothly. At the end of the fishing trip, you get to keep any of the fish that were caught during it. The best part, you don't use your fishing rod. The boat has nets that automatically catch fish. I quickly toss some items into the bin of shipping, then I permanently borrow a couple of sports drinks from Harvey without his knowledge. I buy 100 summer seeds from Pierre, then I rush to the beach, specifically the tide pool area where I meet Murphy. We set sail for the high seas, where unbeknownst to me, the most difficult, nerve-wracking experience I've ever endured while playing Stardew Valley was about to take place. I grab a cup of coffee, which gives me a +2 speed boost, and make my way into the deck of the ship, I think it's called. Everything seems to be fine here, so I go into the hull area. Immediately, things go wrong, as there is water flooding the boat already. At this point, I became tremendously confused and did not know what to do. I focused pretty much exclusively on grabbing coal from the box and using it to keep the engine running, while also making sure to patch up any holes on the wall so that the ship doesn't become entirely flooded. I thought I was doing a mighty fine job and I was feeling very proud of myself. Unfortunately, I forgot about 2 other aspects of this fishing adventure. Number 1, there is a computer in the room Murphy is in. You can interact with this computer to get more time added to the length of the fishing trip. Number 2, and this is the important one, I did not interact with the nets in any way, shape or form. They ripped very shortly after this whole thing began and I did not repair them, which means all of the fish I caught before they were ripped were lost. On top of that, because they were not fixed, I could not catch any more fish. In short, I finished this fishing trip with 0 fish. I did not realize my mistake as it happened, and so I was very, very confused when I checked the chest that supposedly contains all of the fish I caught and it was empty. This was a disaster, plain and simple, and even worse than that, It was all my fault. I have nobody to blame but myself. While I plant and water my summer seeds, I want to quickly discuss something related to the fishing trawler mod. So the way it works is you select a day and you can only go on the fishing trip on that day. I originally selected Thursday, but I was not happy at all with how today went. I felt like I hadn't gotten a proper idea of how beneficial this mod might be. So I decided to change the day to Friday, meaning I will go on another fishing trip tomorrow. This will be the one and only time I do 2 fishing trips in 1 week. After tomorrow, I will only be going on Fridays. Also, if tomorrow ends up being a complete failure again, then I'll just accept it. I won't go again on Saturday. But I do have a much better idea of how it works now, so I have faith that we will do a sensational job tomorrow. I harvest some more pearls on day 33 along with an ancient fruit. Ancient fruit have joined the group consisting of salal berries and joja berries. This group of crops will automatically be tossed into seed makers so I can grow more of these crops than I could ever possibly know what to do with. I would like to bring something to your attention now. Jacob has a quest for us. In his words, and I quote, "I am looking for coffee to eat in front of the TV." I don't think he is aware of how coffee works. You do not eat coffee, you drink it. That is also a sentence I never thought I would have to say. Regardless, I will provide Jacob with what he wants. I can only hope he does not eat the cup along with the coffee. It is now time for the main event of the day. Once again, I immediately drink some of Murphy's coffee to get a speed boost. Then I get to work on patching up the room with the engine. It is honestly very nerve-wracking trying to do this and keep the engine stocked with coal and repair the nets all at the same time. And you know what? I love it. I don't just want this challenge, I welcome this challenge with open arms. I have opened the door to my house, pulled out a chair, allowed this challenge to sit down at my dining table and prepared a lovely 3-course meal for it. If this challenge was a villager, I would already be at the maximum 10 hearts of friendship with it, based solely on the amount of time, effort and focus I put into it today. I am rambling right now, I am well aware of that. Truth be told, I'm simply trying to say as much as I can so I can show as much footage of me working on this ship as possible. I feel like I've shown enough of that footage for you to feel my sheer raw panic through the screen as I did all of those activities involved in this fishing trip. So, let us now look at the rewards I received upon successfully making it back to shore. Halibut, a new type of seaweed whose name I cannot pronounce and will only embarrass myself if I try to, pufferfish and red snapper. And a decent amount of these fish too. In total, 19 fish. I am very glad I did this fishing trip again today, for the sake of science of course, because, as it turns out, it is absolutely worth it. I will probably sell this fish as the majority of fish needed for the community centre have to be gold star and I'm already working away on that whenever I get free time. But all in all, I think it's safe to say that this fishing trawler mod is absolutely worth using. I teleport to Doran's Rest where I talk to the villagers in the market in order to bump Arwen and Edris up to the magical 1 heart of friendship. I have successfully completed the quest to get 5 of the residents here to 1 heart of friendship. Doran gives me a dwarven ale for doing so, which I sell right back to him. I also give him the 5 dwarven barley malt, which as usual unlocks another quest in which I have to make a machine, put the item I just gave to Doran into it in order to make a new item, and give 5 of those to Doran. I head to the broken bridge in the town where I read a sign that says, "Warning, bridge intentionally destroyed. Talk to me at the pub if you're brave enough to venture into the wasteland." If there's one thing I'm good at, it is repairing broken bridges, so this is something I am very much interested in. I head to Doran's home where the newest quest reveals itself. I must deliver 600 wood to Doran in order to repair the bridge. That isn't too bad actually, I have plenty of wood back on the farm. I have also unlocked a farmhouse here in Doran's Rest. The big man Doran has sent us a bed and a fridge as housewarming gifts I assume, which is very kind of him. I have also been sent the crafting recipe I need for the machine related to the quest he gave us today. There are a lot of quests here in Doran's Rest, but they are definitely worth doing. I mean, we've gotten a really cool hammer, a new farmhouse, some crafting recipes, access to an area where we can get shadow honey, and access to the mines just by doing these quests. So, while I have spent quite a while doing these quests, I am happy with that choice because it has helped us out quite a bit, especially when it comes to our finances. After sending my pickaxe to Clint, I spend the rest of the night chopping down trees. The crop fairy also shows up during the night and does some magic stuff in order to fully grow some of our crops. On day 34, I discovered that it was our salal berries that the crop fairy decided to bless with magic last night, which means a good portion of them are ready for harvest. Something to note about salal berries is they are similar to strawberries in ancient fruit in the sense that once they have fully grown, you do not have to replant the seed when you harvest the crop. It stays there and you can harvest it over and over again. I spent some time watering my crops in the garden pot shed, plant some ancient seeds and jojo berry seeds, make a couple of warp totems and teleport to Durin's Rest. I have said Durin's Rest so many times in this playthrough already, and I'm absolutely going to say it many more times. What can I say? I love the Durin's Rest mod. I enter Balor's house and go into his basement where supernatural eggplants have taken over and I must fight them. Once again, that is a sentence I never thought I would say. After clearing out his basement, I head to Durin's house and give him the 600 wood he wants. Immediately following this, I enter the market where the residents have gathered alongside Durin. Durin announces that I have accepted the responsibility of keeping the town safe from any enemies that may show up on the island the bridge connects to. I did not sign up for that, but considering the positive effect this town has had on my bank account, I am willing to protect the people here. Balor says he has seen something strange in the neighborhood and apparently we are who he is meant to call upon. He wants me to meet him at his house. I feel like I may have jumped the gun a little bit by going into his basement earlier and defeating the eggplants. Sure enough, upon entering Balor's home, he tells us that his eggplants have come alive and have taken over the basement. He wants us to take care of them, which I unfortunately cannot do today as these eggplants seem to function similarly to the bees that drop shadow honey, in the sense that when you defeat them, they won't respawn until the following day. Which means Balor must wait until tomorrow for his eggplant kerfuffle to be solved. We've spent enough time in Durin's Rest for one day I feel, so I return to Pelican Town where I buy all of the seeds I need for the summer crops bundle in the community center. I also pick up some wheat, sunflower and corn seeds while I'm here along with a couple of scarecrows. I then spend the last of my money on summer seeds. I gotta say, in a weird way, I am really looking forward to doing the normal community center bundles in a future playthrough. I have a feeling they're going to be a lot easier compared to what we're doing now, especially the fishing ones. I have to catch so many fish. Like I said, I have done some fishing here and there whenever I have had downtime, but at some point during the season, I'm going to have to dedicate a few days exclusively to just fishing so I can make sure I get everything I need in terms of the summer fish. Clint has sent me my golden pickaxe on day 35. I have arrived too early to enter Balor's home, so I do what I usually do in this circumstance and spend some time lollygagging in the mines. I eventually enter Balor's home and get to work on defeating the haunted eggplants. This goes relatively smoothly and I defeat 10 of them without too much hassle. The time I have spent battling bees has made me a lot more cautious when it comes to combat, so I will hopefully avoid being knocked out for the rest of this playthrough. I talk to Balor at the market to complete his quest and I spend some of my doubloons on red cabbage seeds. I also buy 2 new versions of hops seeds along with 100 artichoke seeds, 40 dwarven camas seeds, I'm not sure how to pronounce that one, and 20 nubroot bulbs. After that little spending spree, I talk to Durin who warns us that the hardest enemy we have ever faced waits across the bridge. The good news is this enemy cannot fly, which I very much appreciate. This enemy turns out to be the Dirt Dragon. It isn't too difficult, surprisingly enough. It shoots fireballs which do a bit of damage, but they're easy enough to dodge. I will say, however, bumping into this enemy takes away like half of your health. So the best way to approach this battle is to just slam the hammer down when you're near it and run away as soon as it starts moving. I make my way around the area, carefully battling the dirt dragons here. These dragons drop eggs when they are defeated and Durin wants 10 of these, so our main goal here is to of course acquire 10 of these eggs. I take a break from this battle of the century and do a bit of gallivanting around the area. I head to the west side of the island where I find a hidden cave. I enter and walk to the end of the cave where I find a sword that has been lodged into a stone, reminiscent of the legend of King Arthur. I pull the sword from the stone, acquiring the legendary Excalibur. This is an absolute game changer, and for once I am not exaggerating when I say that. This sword makes quick work of the dirt dragons. It shoots fireballs, which means I can keep somewhat of a distance from them, hurl fireballs at them, and collect the eggs they drop. I am very excited to see how this sword handles the enemies in the Pelican Town mines and especially the enemies in the Skull Cavern, along with any other enemies we may encounter during our escapades. After collecting all of the eggs I need, I warp back to the starting area, then to the bus stop. I spend the remainder of the night planting my summer seeds. I give the dragon eggs to Durin on day 36, and I believe that is the final quest he has for me that is related to combat. Which means all I have left are the quests involving things we can make using Dwarven Barley. You know, the things I put into machines to make other things, and then I unlock the crafting recipe for another machine that can make another thing. I don't really know how to describe it, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Also, the sword I picked up, the Exaliburn, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but regardless, the Exaliburn has made going through the mines so much easier. I genuinely cannot even begin to describe how quickly it takes care of all the enemies here. Even the zombie foremen, which were a decent challenge before, do not stand a chance now that I have this sword. I almost feel bad for the enemies here. Almost. I got so immersed in using the sword that I didn't even realize how much time had gone by. Before I knew it, I had made it to the home of the bees and was taking them on so I could get their wonderful honey. Again, the sword makes quick work of these bees. I can throw fireballs at them and take them out in one hit. As overpowered as it may be, I did do a lot to get my hands on this sword, so I do not feel bad for using this. In fact, using this sword has had a profoundly positive effect on the overall vibes I'm experiencing. I managed to make it back home and toss the loot I collected today into the shipping bin before the night is over. I also make one each of the machines Durin has sent me the crafting recipe for. On day 37, I observe my machines. Marvelous. I send my watering can to Clint and buy 10 iridium sprinklers. Because of the amount of seeds I have that I still need to plant, I decided to spend the rest of the day preparing the ground for the planting of these seeds. It takes many minutes, but I get it done and plant a good percentage of the seeds I bought from Balor a couple of days ago too. And that's actually it for today. The salal berries that were grown by the crop fairy continue to shine a light on my life as they are once again ready for harvest on day 38. Following that, it's off to the mines. I took a bit of a break from this area, but I'm back now and I want to make it to the bottom of this place by the end of tomorrow. I make it to floor 100 where I obtain my first star drop. Sweet. I push forward, making my way through floor after floor after floor. The golden pickaxe paired with the Exaliburn makes things really easy and I get to floor 112 before I pass out. Clint returns our watering can to us on day 39. I am greeted by the sensational sight of summer forage which I harvest and turn into more summer seeds. 400 more summer seeds to be exact. But that is not all. There's even more forage ready to collect on the farm. I used this forage to make another 220 summer seeds. I make 165 tea saplings which I toss into the shipping bin. I donate red mushrooms, cave carrots and mixed seeds to the exotic foraging bundle, maple and pine tree saplings to the summer and winter foraging bundles, and donate multiple items to the boiler room bundles. The luau takes place today, but I unfortunately participated in too much dilly-dallying and I ended up missing the festival. I wanted to spend my doubloons in the market in Durin's Rest as I need an iridium bar for the boiler room bundles. But the market is closed, I assume, because of the luau. So I teleport back home and return to the community centre with more items for the boiler room as well as mussels for the crab pot bundle and torches, clams and coral for the foraging bundles. I head to the mines, not to advance further and make it to floor 120, but rather to obtain the remaining bones and bat wings I need for the community centre. I end up completing the skeleton monster eradication goal which I was not expecting, but I am very pleased with all the same. I also made 82,000 gold from the saplings I shipped today. Some radishes are ready for harvest on day 40. I plant jojoberry berry seeds along with some summer seeds. I buy the crafting recipe for doubloons from Durin. Now I can use 1 durinium to make 100 doubloons, which is a very fair exchange if you ask me. I buy some coal and an iridium bar from Glorgan, along with some rice shoots and a citron, crimson citrus and rested juniper tree sapling from Balor. I purchase the second backpack upgrade in Piers and grab an orange and apple tree sapling, 10 garden pots and 10 iridium sprinklers. Also, while I'm here, I somehow, wink wink, nudge nudge, get my hands on 5 grass starter. I tripped and I fell into them and they ended up in my inventory. You know how it is, you know what happens, it's happened to all of us, right? I send my copper axe to Clint so he can upgrade it to iron, then I head to the saloon. I make good use of the part of the community mod here. Talking to a villager gives you 5 friendship points with the surrounding villagers. The default value for this is 2 friendship points, but because of the number of villagers in the game, I feel like 5 points is a fair compromise. Because of the amount of people here on a Friday, I can get 85 bonus friendship points with everybody here just from talking to them, on top of the 20 friendship points you normally get from just talking to a villager. So 105 friendship points in total. I donate an iridium bar, coal, bones and white algae to the community centre, unlocking the bounty board bundles and the vault bundles. But I have not fully completed the boiler room yet, I still need to donate some gems. I take a look at the bounty board bundles. At first glance, they make me want to cry, but upon further inspection, it's not too bad I suppose. Don't get me wrong, it's going to take quite a bit of time to get them done, but it's not as bad as it could be I feel. The vault bundle is pretty simple, I just have to donate 98,000 gold. Overall, I'm feeling pretty good about the community centre in general. I think the 2 most difficult bundles are the fishing and bounty board bundles, but they're manageable. Also, I did check and the only fish that is exclusive to spring is the legend, which we don't need to donate thankfully, so we're good on that front. Susan sends us melon seeds on day 41, thank you Susan. I harvest some poppies and coffee beans along with some ancient fruit and wheat. Also, the potatoes in the shed are ready, so I collect those too. The bad news though is I don't have enough to donate. So I sprinkle fertilizer on the garden pots and plant potato and kale seeds. I wanted to ask Clint to crack open some geodes for me, but I forgot he is working on upgrading my axe. I find that a bit questionable considering he was not doing anything at all when I walked in, but then I ask him to do something for me and he's just magically busy? That's pretty suspicious if you ask me. It's off to the mines and this time I am indeed going to progress further. Again, we have some pretty powerful tools and weapons at our disposal, so I was able to get to floor 120 thanks in large part to the golden pickaxe and the Excalibur. I now have the skull key, which means I can enter the skull caverns. I think I'll wait until I get the iridium pickaxe to go to the skull caverns though. Our axe has been returned to us on day 42, what a delicious start to the day. I'm also not really sure whether or not to mention harvesting crops anymore or how frequently to mention it. I think what I'll do is mention when I harvest or plant the money makers, so to speak. So things like ancient fruit, Joja berries and summer seeds. As well as things I need for the community centre like the potatoes and kale I have growing in garden pots. I donate coffee beans, summer spangles, poppies and peppers to the community centre. I am really proud of myself for staying on top of the donations. Next up is a visit to Clint where I have my geodes cracked open. I need 1 petrified slime, I think that's how you pronounce it, 3 mudstone and 3 celestine, I believe. And I only need to donate 2 of those 3 items, so we have a bit of leeway with the last boiler room bundle, as I can choose which 2 of those 3 I want to donate. I donate some items to the museum, including the 1 mudstone I had. I did not mean to donate this, but I have 2 celestine and 1 petrified slime, so I guess we're going with those 2. I ask Clint to crack open even more geodes and I do not get the item I need, but that is okay. I want to get the boiler room finished before the end of summer, so I still have 2 weeks or so. Now that I have the iron axe, I can break tree stumps and logs to get hardwood. I'm going to break any of these that I see, as I want as much hardwood as I can get for future projects that will require that material. I check out the travelling cart, which is not selling garlic or garlic seeds, but it turns out I don't actually need garlic. At least not for the spring crops bundle. You see, I can leave one of the crops out and just donate the rest, and that will still be enough to complete that bundle. I grab as much hardwood as I can get my hands on in the secret woods, along with some red baneberry. The quarry area on the farm is filled to the brim with copper, iron and gold ore, emeralds, diamonds and other gems, and frozen geodes. I want to break every rock here and collect everything, but I am a busy bee and it also is my bedtime, so I must leave this place for now. Day 43 is already off to an absolutely sensational start as I harvest Joja berries and starfruit among a couple of other crops. Summer forage is also ready for collection. I have to say, the shop overhaul mod has paid dividends and has undoubtedly made this adventure quite a bit easier thanks to the sprinklers that were added to Pierre's shop. I donate radishes to the Summer Crops Bundle and Gold Star Starfruit to the Quality Crops Bundle. I finish off the Summer Foraging Bundle, for which I receive a bee house. Acorns and common mushrooms are donated to the Fall Foraging Bundle, and a petrified slime is thrown into the boiler room. I really do hope I have been pronouncing petrified correctly, but I don't think I have. I sell the rest of the starfruit I have to Pierre and make 73 tea saplings. I've got more Joja Berry and Ancient Seeds at my disposal, so I plant those. I would like to get the Joja Berry and Ancient Fruit Empire up and running as quickly as possible. The tea saplings I created are sold along with half of the salal berries I have in my inventory. I find a banana at the area outside the tunnel beside the bus stop, which is a very nice find. Ordinarily, a banana is something I would obtain in winter after reaching Ginger Island, so I am very surprised to receive one this early, though it is of course a welcome surprise. The walk to the desert also provides me with plenty of opportunities to take on monsters that will have to be defeated as part of the monster eradication goals. So it's nice to know that we are consistently making progress on these goals every time I partake in this marathon to Calico Desert. Upon entering Sandy's shop, she tells us that we should avoid walking home as ghosts come out in droves at nighttime. I hear you, I understand you, but above all else, I'm going to ignore you. I buy some rhubarb seeds, 10 coconuts, and 200 starfruit seeds, then I venture onto the road back to Pelican Town. Just as Sandy warned us, the area is teeming with ghosts. Luckily, we have the Exaliburn, so getting back home is a complete walk in the park. Just before I head to sleep, I make sure to plant some of the starfruit seeds I bought today. The planting of starfruit seeds continues on day 44. I continue the tradition of making summer seeds. I feel like I have grown especially attached to these wonderful packets of seeds, and I harvest the green beans that I've grown in the garden pots for the first time. I need 30 of these, so this is something I will have to repeat 2 more times. I head to Durin's Rest, where I deliver 5 dwarven barley malt to him. This of course unlocks a new quest to make 5 of a new item and give them to him. I check the mailbox at my farmhouse here and read the letter that contains the crafting recipe for the machine needed to make this new item. I spend just a little bit of time battling the bees here to collect some honey. I might as well while I'm here. Then I head to Grandpa's shed for the first time. As I have the iron axe, I can break the 2 logs that block the entrance to this shed. I step inside and analyze my surroundings. Just as I thought, this is indeed a shed. But it's not just a shed, no, it's a big shed. The rest of the day, as well as days 45 and 46, are spent chopping down trees and clearing out the rest of the space in this big patch of land where I have been planting my seeds. Day 47 is a massive summer forage collection day. Of course I collected other crops, the main ones being ancient fruit, Joja berries and pearls. I don't know if you can consider a pearl to be a crop, but it grew from a seed, so technically it's a crop. I don't know what's going on anymore, my brain is fried if I'm being honest. Between the first day of spring and now, I have written around 20,000 words. That's 20,000 words about Stardew Valley. I wasn't exaggerating about my brain being fried, by the way. When I go to sleep, I dream about summer forage and the mines in Durin's Rest and stealing tea saplings from Pierre and catching dozens of fish. After making 670 summer seeds, I plant as many of them as I possibly can. Bear in mind, I also planted more summer seeds and starfruit seeds during that period of time I spent clearing out more space on the farm. I would not be surprised if I end up with like 1,000 or 2,000 summer seeds by the end of this season. That's just the way things are going right now. I donate potatoes, cauliflower, blueberries, tomatoes, red cabbages, and melons to the community centre, all of which I harvested during the aforementioned period of time spent cleaning up the farm. I complete the summer crops bundle and receive an iridium sprinkler. Sweet. Upon further inspection of the bounty board bundles, I gotta say, they're really not too bad. I admit, I panicked when I first saw them simply because of how many items are required for these bundles, but if I stay cool, calm and collected, I think I'll be able to get this one done before the end of the year. I buy some geodes from Clint along with a rusty cog and a rusty spur for the museum and 5 battery packs. I ask Clint to crack open the geodes I just bought and I very quickly get my hands on 2 mudstone. It's at this point I deeply regret donating that 1 mudstone I had to the museum. I buy some more geodes from Clint, ask him to crack them open, and I receive the third mudstone I need. I was actually hoping to get one Celestine because I already have 2 of those, but I mean, I'm not going to complain about this. I will happily take 3 mudstone. I make a few donations to the museum. I have been lacking just a bit when it comes to this area, but there are a lot of things I've had to stay on top of since this playthrough began. So I won't hold that against myself. I head to the beach where I talk to Murphy, even though Murphy isn't anywhere to be seen. I have the option to go on the fishing trip, but when I accept it, nothing happens. I believe what has occurred is you cannot go on the fishing trip after 6 PM. I made it to the beach before 6 PM, but talked to Murphy after 6 PM. So maybe the game just made Murphy disappear because even though I got to the beach on time, I was too late when it came to actually seeing and talking to Murphy. Anyhoomst, I donate 3 mudstone to the community centre, finishing off the boiler room. We have now unlocked the minecart system. We have also just completed our first room in the community centre. Well done us! On day 48, we have officially reached the stage where we will never be short on coffee beans ever again. I make 170 more summer seeds. I do apologise for how often I have mentioned this, but harvesting forage and making seeds brings me so much happiness. I just want to share this experience and that happiness with all of you. I head into Robin's shop where a cutscene plays. Robin says she has figured out what material she needs. We need to give her 150 hardwood, 600 stone, 50 iron bars and 20 battery packs. Yeah, basically what has happened here is the game for some reason skipped the cutscene where Robin shows up at her house and talks about Grandpa's shed. Instead, it has just jumped ahead to her telling us what she needs to repair the shed, which doesn't really bother me. In fact, I'm just happy to finally be able to repair the shed. The reason for this being it contains a greenhouse, which I desperately need. I did a bit of mathematics in my head while I walked to Clint's and figured out that I have just enough gold to buy 15 battery packs from him. This is very good news because I already have 5 of them, which means I have the 20 needed for Grandpa's shed. So I gather all of the required stone, hardwood and iron bars and toss them along with the battery packs into the chest in Grandpa's shed. And just like that, we have delivered everything Robin asked for. I refused to partake in any sort of dilly-dallying when it comes to that shed, and especially the greenhouse it contains. I buy 3 iridium bars from Glorgan, as well as 5 iron bars and 2 more iridium bars. I make 5 of the new machine required for Durin's most recent quest, then I make more doubloons and buy 8 more iridium and iron bars, which I used to make 4 of the previous 2 machines that Durin taught us how to make. Just before I leave, I buy a final 5 iridium bars. I place all of my machines down. My thought process here is I want to be able to make everything Durin wants as quickly as possible. I'm at the point where I want to wrap up the Durin's Rest quests and find out what we get for completing everything. Robin pays us a visit on the morning of day 49 and lets us know that the shed will be repaired tomorrow. Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much. Also, I goofed. I accidentally interacted with the mailbox while I was holding my golden pickaxe. Because I had 5 iridium bars in my inventory, it sent my pickaxe to Clint to be upgraded. That was very silly of me, but I was planning on upgrading my pickaxe anyway, so we shall call this a happy accident. I take a look at what Marnie is selling. The shop overhaul mod has added eggs, milk, cloth, wool, basically every animal item, along with things like fiber and mayonnaise machines to our shop. I don't buy anything, but that is good to know. Next up is a cutscene where I pet Dusty the dog. This was a therapeutic cutscene and was very much needed after the previous action-filled, jam-packed and very intense 49 days. I have gotten to the point where I don't even read the quests on the bounty board anymore, I just accept them, and if I have an item any villager wants, then I send it to them when I get the chance. This honestly does not happen as often as I would like it to, as I don't yet have access to a good portion of the items that the villagers have requested. After selling some crops to Pierre, I buy 50 tomato seeds as I need gold star tomatoes for the community centre, as well as basic fertilizer, 9 iridium sprinklers and 1 more iridium sprinkler that I was able to afford after selling some salal berries. For the first time, I cross Shearwater Bridge and enter East Scarp. I cannot believe I haven't come here yet, but in my defense, I have been up to my eyeballs in various shenanigans and tomfoolery up until this point. The first house I enter in this lovely area is going for a minimalist aesthetic, shall we say. It doesn't have a lot of furniture, is what I'm trying to get at here. Maybe this will be my house in the future? I would like that. I would like that a lot. I enter a hotel, or an inn I think it's called. I meet Rosa, who dropped something she was cooking and immediately blamed me for it. Lovely, my first day here and already somebody is angry with me. I apologize, which results in Rosa immediately apologizing too. I am massively confused. I think I'm just going to forget that happened and start fresh with Rosa. Water under the bridge, right? She is selling bread, cookies, coffee, East Scarp warp totems, and the crafting recipe for warp totems. I don't buy anything, but I will remember this for the future, as I'm sure those warp totems especially will come in handy. I explore the hotel a bit more and I find a lovely swimming pool area. The rooms here are very nicely furnished, a stark contrast to that first house I entered. Overall, I like the aesthetic of this hotel. I enter a house where I meet Munchington the cat. Nice, we have Dusty the dog and Munchington the cat. There is a lovely beach area. I hope some sort of festival takes place here, or just something that involves the villagers hanging out here. I feel like that would be a lovely touch. I enter a cave system, but I don't have a pickaxe with me as I accidentally sent it to Clint this morning. So I shall return at some point and see what this cave system has to offer. I enter another cave and meet Lexi. I do not know who or even what Lexi is, but I want to be their friend. They have a positive aura and I'm liking the vibe they're giving off. I make my way to the north of East Scarp where I find an exit that leads to the mountain area. You know, the place by the mines and Robin's shop. It's good to know that we can access East Scarp from here. I was not aware of that until now. The Duran's Rest machines are thriving on day 50, though I would like to build a shed and put all of the machines inside it. But that is a job for another day, maybe even another season, as I have a lot on my plate right now. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm complaining when I say things like that. I'm honestly really happy to have so many things to do and talk about on a daily basis. I don't want this to change. I want to have a dozen different things to do every day. Robin has repaired Grandpa's shed. That is the best news I have received during this entire playthrough so far. The first thing I do is head upstairs and plant all of the tomato and kale seeds, making sure to sprinkle fertilizer on them as I do. The reason for this being I need gold star kale and tomatoes for the community center. I also plant some artichoke seeds, fully covering the entirety of the greenhouse with seeds. I donate 30 green beans and take a few minutes to really assess what I have left to do here in the community center. Allow me to explain what I'm thinking right now. The spring crops bundle is fine, I just need rhubarb and unmilled rice, both of which are growing in the garden pots. For the quality crops bundle, I can thankfully leave out the strawberries and easily get the other 4 done. The fall crops will be a walk in the park. I will just buy the seeds I need for them when fall begins. The artisan bundle shouldn't be too bad, it's just a case of throwing fruits and vegetables into preserve jars and kegs, and planting the fruit tree saplings so I can get apricots, peaches, cherries, and pomegranates. The animal bundle is the most difficult one here. The items being gold star does add a significant challenge to this, but as long as I can get a coop or 2 and a barn, and fill them up with cows, goats, chickens, and ducks within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I should be fine. The fishing bundles are just time consuming more than anything else. I have been making a very conscious effort to fish whenever I can, like I've mentioned a couple of times. It has been going pretty well, but we are closing in on the point where I need to dedicate a few days specifically to fishing to make sure I don't miss out on any of them. The bounty board bundles. I spoke about this one earlier. It's not necessarily difficult, it just requires a lot of items. I think the worst part about this one is going to be getting all of the cooking dishes I need. I could buy them. I know Duran sells at least a couple of these dishes, but I would rather make them myself instead of buying them. And that goes for all of the other bundles too. Unless I absolutely have to, I would feel a lot better about myself if I obtained all of the items I need instead of relying on buying them in shops. So, overall, I am feeling pretty confident when it comes to the bundles I have left. It won't be easy, don't get me wrong, but it is a lot of fun and a very nice change of pace compared to the normal bundles. I ask Robin to build a coop for us, then I spend the rest of the day fishing at the beach. I have received my iridium pickaxe on day 51. The very first corn harvest takes place. The rest of the day is spent fishing at the mountain lake. Yup, the fishing portion of this playthrough is officially underway. On day 52, I harvest more summer forage than I know what to do with. That's a lie actually, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. And that will be revealed pretty soon. I finally buy the iridium fishing rod and, as you may have guessed, I spend the rest of the day fishing. Even more summer forage is ready on day 53. I never really took the time to plant summer seeds or spring or fall or winter seeds this much in the past, so I had no idea it would result in this much forage growing on the farm. Now I truly understand why people invest so much time and effort into making tea saplings. It makes so much sense now. A tomato harvest takes place too, and of course any Joja berries and ancient fruit I get are thrown into seed makers as always. I ask Robin to add another coop to the farm and I buy 10 preserve jars from her. We might as well continue the tradition. The rest of the day is spent fishing. Starfruit is ready for harvest on day 54. I'm going to be honest, I'm a lot more excited now when I see summer forage than I am when I see starfruit, which is weird because starfruit has always been my favourite crop in the game. I visit Murphy at the tide pool area and embark on a fishing trip with him. I drink a cup of coffee as always. That speed boost is invaluable when it comes to getting around the boat as quickly as possible. Just like the last fishing trip I went on, this is nerve-wracking to a goofy degree. That is the best way I can describe it. It's a lot of fun, but it takes so much concentration and effort to stay on top of repairing the nets, keeping the engine running, and repairing the wall to make sure the boat doesn't get flooded. My one and only complaint is that you can only get ocean fish from this fishing trip. Maybe I'm wrong, and in the future I'll be able to get river fish and mountain fish. That would be swell, but that is just a minor complaint on my part. This activity is a lot of fun, and I'm really glad I installed this mod. When the timer dropped down below 20 seconds, I did something I am very proud of myself for doing. I remembered that I can use the computer to add 30 more seconds to the timer. When the fishing trip concludes, I check the chest containing all of the fish we caught during it. I have received clams, starfish, halibut, crayfish, snails, periwinkles, and red mullets. It may have been difficult, but it was absolutely worth it. Prepare yourself now for the surprise of the century. The rest of the day is spent fishing. The penultimate round of starfruit harvesting occurs on day 55. I also get a taro root, which is really cool. Normally you can only get those when you unlock Ginger Island. I've built up a nice collection of seeds. I've got 14 ancient seeds, 57 Joja berry starters, and 20 fall seeds. I acquired the fall seeds by putting common mushrooms into the seed maker. Things are looking mighty fine in the greenhouse in Grandpa's shed as the kale is tantalizingly close to being fully grown. I sell a few of my crops, buy 8 full stacks of fibre from Marnie, and buy 4 chickens for the first coop I had built on the farm. I spend the rest of the day fishing in front of Leah's cottage as I need to get pike and dorado for the community centre. I have also decided that I'm going to wait until I have every fish I need and donate them all at the same time. I feel like that is going to be really satisfying, so I'm very much looking forward to doing that. Day 56, the final day of summer. After making as many summer seeds as I can, I have around 3,200 of them. Okay, now I really understand the obsession some people have with tea saplings. Though I will say I may have overdone it as I make over 600 tea saplings. And the only reason why I didn't make more is because I ran out of wood. 600 tea saplings sells for 300,000 gold, so we are going to be in a very comfortable position financially heading into fall. The final starfruit harvesting session of the season takes place, officially signalling the end of summer. That's a lot of S's in one sentence. I harvest all of the kale that has grown in the greenhouse and plant wheat and artichoke seeds in their place. I improve my financial situation even further as I sell starfruit to Pierre, unlocking the achievement for earning a total of 1 million gold. I buy iridium sprinklers, donate corn, gold star kale, and unmilled rice to the community centre. I also donate a total of 98,000 gold to buy all of the vault bundles and complete that room in its entirety. The third and final backpack upgrade has been purchased, which means we now have 48 inventory slots. That is very chill, I must say. I head to Doran's Rest. I have lost count of how many times I have said that, and I give the 5 items Doran wanted to him, which of course unlocks a quest to make 5 of another item and give those to him too. I utilize the super elite tactic of using the warp totem in my farmhouse here to get back to the starting area as fast as possible. Disaster has struck as I am unable to plant my fruit tree saplings in the greenhouse. I will be completely honest and say I very much panicked at this point. However, as I'm watching this footage and writing the script, I know exactly why I couldn't plant them. It's because they have to be planted on the dirt and not on the wooden flooring. Basically, this is a very easy fix, and I will plant them all on the very first day of fall. I spend the rest of the day fishing to catch the last couple of rainbow trout and sunfish I need. And that is the end of summer. I feel like this is going to be slightly shorter than spring, but I also feel like we accomplished a lot more here. Maybe that's just placebo effect because I put more focus on the community center during this season, but regardless, I feel like we're doing very well for ourselves. I know for a fact I have repeated myself many times and I have rambled quite often, but that's just how my videos are. I've accepted it now. If you enjoy rambles and listening to someone talk really in detail about the smallest things, feel free to stick around and watch more of my videos because that is my specialty. Anyway, this has gone on long enough and I'm sure fall and winter will be a similar length, so I won't take up any more of your time. I had tremendous fun this season. Let's see if we can keep the ball rolling in fall. A gentleman by the name of Richard pays us a visit on day 57. A piano player has arrived in the hotel owned by Richard. Truth be told, I do not know who Richard is, nor do I know where this hotel he's referring to is located, but I do appreciate him providing me with this piano lore all the same. The majority of our crops have withered away, which is always a sad sight. However, the jojoberry, berry, ancient fruit, corn and pearl seeds are still standing. And I am sure there will be a plethora of seeds I can plant in place of the summer crops this season. I harvest some green beans and rhubarb from the garden pots, the important one being rhubarb as this still has to be donated to the community centre. I make a beeline for the greenhouse in Grandpa's shed where with a heavy heart I begin removing the entire 2 rows of seeds at the bottom. I plant 5 fruit tree saplings in place of these seeds. This is repeated with the top 2 rows of seeds. I did have a bit of a lackadaisical moment however, as I seem to have forgotten my pomegranate tree sapling. That is a travesty of the highest order and must be rectified immediately. I head to Pierre's where I buy 50 of each fall seed, 550 speed grow and a pomegranate sapling. I buy a further 300 pumpkin seeds, bringing us up to a total of 350 of them. I have also decided to pay more attention to the villagers' birthdays this season, and by that I mean I will be over the moon if I remember to give gifts to 3 of them. I do not have high expectations for our friendships this year. I donate the rhubarb I harvested this morning to finally complete the spring crops bundle. I take a look at the remaining crop bundles to once again keep myself humble. I ask Robin to add a shed to the farm. Our storage situation is disgusting, quite frankly. Dare I even say the overall aesthetic of the farm is not sensational. In fact, I would go a step further and say the current state of the farm is an insult to every Stardew Valley player that has ever lived. Okay, no, it's not that bad, but I'm hoping me saying this will motivate me to tidy it up just a little bit during fall. After purchasing a couple of machines and tree fertilizer from Robin, I return to Grandpa's shed and plant the pomegranate tree. All of our trees should be fully grown on the first day of winter. To finish off the day, I get started on planting all of the seeds I bought today. I am content with how the first day of this brand new season has gone. The planting of seeds continues on day 58. The bad news about being able to buy hundreds of seeds is it takes quite a bit of time to get everything planted. The good news is, once everything is planted, I can pretty much just forget about them and let the sprinklers work away. I think at this point it's safe to say that the undisputed MVP of this playthrough so far is the Iridium sprinklers. They have very much added a positive vibe to this adventure so far. Also, when it comes to the speed grow, there is absolutely no rhyme or reason when it comes to how and where I sprinkle it. Some crops were blessed with this magical substance, while others were not. I make the executive decision to enter the Skull Caverns for what I believe is the first time. My goal here is not to collect iridium ore and gems, but rather to see how well we can do with the iridium pickaxe and the Excaliburn. The answer? Pretty well. The sword easily takes care of any and every monster I encounter, and the pickaxe breaks every rock here rather swiftly. My curiosity has been satiated by the time I reach floor 5, so I end the Skull Cavern gallivanting session there. I think I will save the proper Skull Cavern runs for next year. The beautiful sight of freshly grown artichokes awaits me when I enter Grandpa's shed. I need Gold Star Artichoke for the community center, so this certainly will not be the final artichoke harvesting session of the season. Back on the farm, Lorenzo has decided to pay us a visit. When he was younger, his parents would take him and his siblings to this farm to visit my grandparents. My grandpa helped his family when they were new to Pelican Town, and as a token of his appreciation for this, Lorenzo gives us a couple of gifts. 1 deluxe speed grow, a plate of spaghetti, 1,000 gold, and a lucky charm that belonged to my grandma. Lorenzo apologizes for taking so long to visit us and tell us all about the shared history between our families. He wanted to make sure we actually are our grandfather's grandchild. Do not fret, Lorenzo, that is a very understandable choice. I spend the rest of the night planting even more seeds. Now that it is fall, I can plant the artichoke seeds on the farm instead of in the greenhouse. That is marvelous news. A short cutscene plays on day 59 where somebody, I assume it is our grandma, appears to us in a dream, I think. I'm not entirely sure what any of this was. She tells us that she and her grandfather are very happy we have finally arrived in Pelican Town and are settling in nicely. What a sweet start to the day. It has occurred to me that I have prioritized Durin's Rest above every other expansion mod. That is not something I intended to do. I was actually planning on bouncing back and forth between each one and giving them all plenty of time to shine in this playthrough. Ergo, 2 things must happen during this season. Number 1, I must do everything I can to speed through the remaining quests associated with Durin's Rest. I assume these quests will require a plentiful amount of dwarven barley, the seeds for which I shall acquire this morning. Number 2, I want to dive into another expansion mod. And I don't mean I just talk to the villagers and walk around East Scarp or Ridgeside Village. No, I want to begin a new storyline and start showing what these other mods have to offer. I'm hoping this will spice things up and keep this series entertaining. I make my way to Robin's where I purchase 20 kegs, preserve jars and tappers. Now that my garden pot obsession has been tossed to the side, I can fixate on these 3 machines instead. I ask Robin to add a 3rd shed to the farm. Inside this shed is where the kegs I obtain will be placed. The special orders board has been added to the town centre. I, for one, cannot wait to accept special orders and then immediately forget about them. I wish I was joking, but my brain is a sieve when it comes to actually remembering to do the special orders I accept. I accept a special order from Clint to defeat 50 dust sprites. This is a very easy special order to complete, and the reward for completing it is the crafting recipe for the Geode Crusher. Will I actually complete this special order? No, absolutely not. In fact, as soon as I took one step away from the board, I was already thinking about a dozen things, none of which involve going to the mines and defeating the aforementioned dust sprites. Some wheat is ready for harvest in the greenhouse. This is another crop that can be planted on the farm during fall, so the greenhouse is going to be used almost exclusively for fruit tree saplings for the foreseeable future. I say almost exclusively because I do need gold star tomatoes which must be planted in here. Piers is closed, which means I must venture into Jojamart where I purchase wheat and amaranth seeds. Do I feel bad for giving money to the Joja overlords? Yes, but also no, because if Piers simply opened the shop on Wednesdays, I would not have to do this. I can't wait to finish the community center so I can officially rid this town of the Joja stench. Just like the previous 2 days, I spend the rest of the day planting the seeds I just bought. Wheat is ready for harvest on day 60, which is nice because I need plenty of this stuff for the community center. Bok choys have blessed us with their presence, which I also require for the community center, I believe. Do I? I think I do. I'll be honest, I am operating under the assumption that every crop that can be grown is needed for the community center. This isn't true, of course, but it basically ensures I grow everything I need. It has become apparent that we are in dire need of a tree farm. Oak resin and pine tar need to be donated, and the oak resin can also be used to produce a conglomerate of kegs in the future. I place cobblestone pathways down, connecting each tree sapling to each other. The reason for this is quite simple. The Automate mod allows you to use pathways to connect machines to a chest. When these oak, pine and maple trees are fully grown, I will put tappers on them. All of the oak resin, pine tar and maple syrup will be deposited into a chest. I of course sprinkle tree fertilizer on all of these seeds to greatly speed up the entire process. I throw hops into the Duran's Rest machines as they are required to produce the item Duran wants. Day 61 begins with the collection of eggplants on the farm and tomatoes in the greenhouse. I was actually surprised when I realized I have the required amount of gold star tomatoes. I thought I needed 40 or 50 of them, but I only need 20. Sweet. I donate mussels, driftwood and periwinkles to the crab pot bundle. Seaweed, algae, bait, wheat, rainbow shells, tulips and sandstone to the bounty board bundles. Jam, juice, eggplants, bok choys, grapes and tomatoes to the crops bundles, and chanterelles to the foraging bundle. I ask Robin to upgrade one of the sheds on the farm and continue the new tradition of buying kegs, preserve jars and tappers from her every time I visit her shop. There is quite a bit of time left in the day which I spend cleaning up a patch of land. Fiber, wood and stone are all invaluable resources, so I am always happy to gather more of them. That and the level of dopamine in my body increases substantially every time I tidy up an area on the farm. My tea sapling obsession has returned in full force on the morning of day 62 as I make 500 of them. I will say, however, I would very much like to diversify my sources of income. I've made hundreds of thousands of gold from tea saplings so far, and while the money is nice, I don't want to rely on them as our primary moneymaker. So I have made my second executive decision of the season. Any fall seeds I make this season shall only be planted. I will not be turning them into tea saplings. That being said, the summer seeds I have are still fair game. I'm not going to turn my back on tea saplings entirely. That would be very rude of me to do after how well they have served us so far. After planting some fall seeds, I sell some items to Pierre to revive my bank account. I invest this money in 250 fall seeds. Is it just me, or does I invest sound so much better than I buy? It makes it seem like I'm making an important business decision rather than just throwing my money away. Next up is a cutscene in which Jazz has gotten lost in the big forest. I help her get home, which Marnie thanks me for. If I am being entirely honest here, I did not do it out of the kindness of my heart. I did it because the big forest is my special place. I do not like the idea of anybody else being in there, frolicking around and potentially stealing all of the forage it contains. That simply cannot happen. I buy cheese presses, mayonnaise machines, oil makers and looms from Marnie, and I buy 4 chickens for the second coop on the farm. This reminds me that I already have 4 chickens on the farm. They are not happy with me. That is completely understandable, to say the least. I mean, I have completely ignored them up to this point. My sincerest apologies to these chickens. I plant some fall seeds, then I head to Ridgeside Village where I encounter a Junimo called Kiwi. Lenny has set up a bounty board in the village. I already talked about how I tend to forget about the special orders I accept in Pelican Town, so I really hope nobody in this village is expecting me to do orders for them this year. I want to, believe me, I really do, but there is a decent chance that I'm not even going to look at this new special orders board a single time during the next 4 weeks. Another cutscene plays in which I am introduced to Torts, the resident turtle of Ridgeside Village. Torts snorts when they see me. That hurt my feelings quite a bit, I won't lie. I enter a building where I can pay somebody to pet my animals every morning. This is an offer I cannot refuse. This should make the whole process of keeping my animals happy a lot easier, which is delightful news. That means the size and quality of the eggs produced by our chickens will improve without me having to do any work. Later in the day, Yuma pays a visit to the farm and lets us know that Lenny would like to see us. She has a job for us. Ooh, how exciting. I spend the rest of the day fishing. With the new season comes a new batch of fish for me to catch. As was the case during summer, I'm going to dedicate a few days specifically to fishing sooner rather than later. Day 63 begins with the harvesting of dwarven barley. We should be covered on this front now. I highly doubt I'll need to plant any more for Doran's quest. Speaking of Doran, I deliver 5 of an item to Doran, which, as you may have guessed, results in him asking for 5 of a new item. Oh, wait, hold on. Nope, actually, Doran doesn't want 5 of this new item. We actually need to give this item to Dur. That was a terrible joke. In fact, I'm not even going to consider that one a joke. That's how bad it was. I apologize. I spent some time in the mines here in Duran's Rest. I'm running low on Durinium, which I need to make a new machine, and I presume a couple more new machines in the future. A curveball has been thrown our way. Up until now, every machine required Durinium, an iron bar, and an iridium bar to make. The dwarven fermenter is a different story, however. I need wood, hardwood, oak resin, an iron bar, and Durinium. I was not expecting this, but this still will not be difficult to make. Also, as I predicted, I completely forgot about Clint's special order. I am neither surprised nor disappointed. The rest of the day, as well as days 64 through 67, are spent fishing. I did a few other things during this period of time which I will point out on day 68. Speaking of which, day 68 begins with the harvesting of cranberries, fall forage, and pumpkins. I use my summer seeds, emphasis on summer seeds, not fall seeds, to make 300 tea saplings which I sell. It is community center time now as I donate wheat to finish off a bounty board bundle and donate morel and sea urchin to other bounty board bundles. Pickles, gold star artichokes, pumpkins, yams, fairy rose, beets and cranberries are donated to the crop bundles, which results in me fully completing the fall crops bundle. I finish off the exotic foraging bundle and the fall foraging bundle. I will say, however, I did something I really wish I had not done. During the period of time I spent fishing, I bought 10 oak resin from Robin. This is the oak resin I donated here. I said during summer that I did not want to buy anything I need for the community center if I can avoid it, so I'm very disappointed in myself for doing this. I'll try not to be too hard on myself though, because I would have gotten the oak resin for my tree farm anyway. I asked Robin to upgrade one of the coops on the farm, and as always I buy kegs, preserve jars and tappers. I buy 10 pine tar just to have it, then I check on the crab pots I set up beside Penny's trailer. I did this during the fishing period so I can get access to the items I need for the crab pot bundle. I also set up crab pots at the ocean. As soon as I step foot on the beach, fishing items float towards me. This can only mean one thing. Somebody has destroyed the chest I placed beside the crab pots here. That is not very chill. I make a few donations to the crab pot bundle. Now all I need for this one are crabs and cockles. I buy 100 bait from Willy, place a new chest beside my crab pots, and fill it with the bait. Circling back to that fishing period again, I also had Robin add a silo to the farm, and our trees have fully grown. This is a double whammy, as they say. Our chickens will have plenty of hay to eat, and we will have a steady supply of oak resin, pine tar, and maple syrup really soon. I pick up the kegs beside my house, clear out the garden pots in the shed, and replace them with mayonnaise machines, cheese presses, and looms. Before the night is over, I place 36 chests in the first upgraded shed. This is going to be our new storage area. I also managed to place all of my kegs in the second upgraded shed. The harvest is plentiful on day 69 as I gather what I hope is enough pumpkins to provide me with more than enough gold star ones for the community center. There is no time for celebrating though, as I immediately get to work on the storage shed. I spend the entire day working on it. The storage shed is almost fully complete on day 70. I already feel so much better about myself. Putting all of my items into their designated chest really does soothe my soul. For what feels like the millionth time this playthrough, I teleport to Durin's Rest where I give Durin the item he asked for. I unlock the crafting recipe for the Light Malter. It requires an iron and iridium bar, durinium and a solar essence. I harvest more pumpkins when I return home, ensuring that we have all the gold star pumpkins we need. Durin gave me a Cascade Hops starter when I completed that quest earlier today, so I planted in the greenhouse as I assume I will need Cascade Hops for the current quest of his I am working on. I would like to start day 71 by showing you all my storage shed. I am pretty happy with how it turned out. When I buy the wallpaper catalog in the future, I will absolutely be sure to add a lovely wallpaper and flooring to this shed just to make it look even more beautiful. I head to Marnie's where she is nowhere to be found. You know, that reminds me, I've heard so many people complain about Marnie never being in her shop, but that rarely happens to me. So I'm going to let this one slide. I make up for this unfortunate yet minor inconvenience by asking Robin to perform the final upgrade on one of her coops. I complete the final stage in the process of setting up her new tree farm by adding tappers to the trees. Then I donate gold star pumpkins to finish off the quality crops bundle. I am mesmerized as always by the sight of forage on the farm on day 72. I wanted to visit the market in Durin's Rest, but unbeknownst to me, the Stardew Valley Fair takes place today. As a result, the market is locked. That is more than okay though. I am excited to go to the fair and get a star drop and a rare crow. I immediately get to work on my Grange display, doing my best to fill it up with some really nice items. I'm feeling confident as I watch Lewis look at each stall, hopeful that I will be awarded first place and receive 1000 star tokens. Sure enough, that is indeed what happens. Sensational. I make sure to take all of my items back. I would be very upset with myself if I left them here, and then the event ends. I am teleported back home for some reason. I have no idea how this happened. I am absolutely heartbroken as this means I have to wait until next year to get my hands on the star drop and the rare crow you can get here. No joke, I am so confused right now. I genuinely have no idea why that happened. Things go from bad to worse as I forget that Pierre's is closed on Wednesdays. I wanted to sell some Joja Berry starters as I found out they sell for 1000 gold each, so day 73 is not off to a good start. Things go from worse to worser as Robin is nowhere to be found in her shop. I am in tremendous need of a pick-me-up, and that pick-me-up comes in the form of a cutscene featuring the man, the myth, the used car salesman, Clint. He has a mission for us. He wants to get rid of the boulder blocking the entrance to the summit, but he needs us to bring him 20 iridium ore and 20 coal which he can use to make a bomb. I may not see eye to eye with Clint, in fact I do not like him at all, but he was there for me in my time of need, so I will do my best to give him the items he needs before the end of fall. Actually, no, before the end of winter. I can already tell I'm going to get sidetracked and forget about this mission he has given us, so I don't want to make a promise I can't keep. I make a good start on it though by buying 20 coal and 10 iridium ore from hold on a minute. He already has the coal and iridium ore he needs to get rid of the boulder. Why do I have to give him this stuff? I'm still going to do it, probably, but I'm not happy with you, Clint. I'm not happy at all. Jazz has a special order for us. She wants us to give salmon to the cat on the beach in East Scarp. I obtained plenty of salmon during my fishing adventure, so I will happily accept this one. Except, it's not that simple. You see, I can't just give the salmon to the cat. I need to catch 5 new salmon. This revelation has basically confirmed that I will not be doing this special order. Not because I'm too lazy to catch salmon, no, I'm just going to forget about this one like how I did with Clint's special order. I take the geode crusher I received for completing a bundle in the community center, place it beside a chest, and put my geodes and coal into the chest. This should give us plenty of gems and minerals which we can donate to the museum. I make my way to East Scarp where I enter the cave that can be found on the beach. I came here during summer, but I did not have my pickaxe on me, so I couldn't explore it as much as I wanted to. That is not the case here. I make my way through the cave where I discover a locked door and the entrance to the cave Lexi lives in. And that is pretty much it. I'm not disappointed though, I like the whole aesthetic of this cave. I decide to take a leisurely nighttime stroll through the town, taking in all of the sights and sounds of the area, my heart and soul feeling truly at peace. I can confirm the geode crusher is working well on day 74. I am very excited to see the goods we obtain from it in the future. I collect a good few eggs for my coops, and I am delighted to see we are already obtaining large eggs. We need gold star large eggs for the community center, so it was a massive relief seeing these show up. I enter Marnie's shop, but she is not behind the counter. I do a bit of shoplifting and, shall we say, acquire a few eggs as payment for the continued inconvenience she is causing me. I also steal Mayor Lewis's purple shorts. Look, all I wanted was to get some rabbits and ducks. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I place all of my eggs into the mayonnaise machines, but I make sure to hold on to the gold star large egg. Robin is back in her shop after yesterday's kerfuffle, so I ask her to build a barn for us. Then it's off to Ridgeside Village where Lenny has a job for us. She needs our help to repair the minecart system here. You know what? Lenny seems like a genuinely good person, and she's doing a much better job at helping people in Ridgeside Village than Lewis is at helping people in Pelican Town, so I figure the least I can do is assist her in repairing the minecarts. She wants 300 wood, 10 iron bars, and 5 gold bars, which isn't too bad at all. I enter the hotel in the village where I meet the piano player Richard told us about on the first day of fall. Neat. Up next we have a cutscene involving Lorenzo, Chiara, and Shanice. I hope I'm pronouncing all of those names correctly, but as always, I'm probably not. Shanice says she isn't feeling well, which makes Lorenzo worried. I'm assuming Lorenzo is Shanice's husband. Chiara says Shanice is showing signs of being pregnant. Shanice seems confused at first, then agrees with Chiara. They ask me to back them up. Quite frankly, I am tremendously confused as to what is going on. I do not know what they're talking about, and I could not even tell that they were trying to make a joke. I decide to support them anyway, and they eventually reveal that the whole thing was, in fact, a joke. Now that I actually understand it, I think it's pretty funny. I take a look at the items Lorenzo is selling. It's basically the same items Pierre sells, just without any of the seeds. The rest of the day is spent chopping down trees. I have already used thousands and thousands of wood during this playthrough, and I have no doubt I will need so much more before all is said and done. Marnie is finally at the counter in her shop on day 75. I have waited so long for this moment. I buy 4 auto grabbers, which sets me back by 100,000 gold. I also buy 4 ducks and 4 rabbits, then I take the auto grabbers and place 1 in each coop. I place a chest beside the auto grabbers so there will be plenty of space for all of the eggs, wool, etc. True to my word, I embark on a voyage to Ridgeside Village where I deposit the iron and gold bars and the wood Lenny asked me to get in order to repair the minecart. From there I head north of the village where I meet a mysterious man named Gio, I think. Look, you all know how much I struggle with pronouncing names in this game. There's no way I'm pronouncing this one correctly. I've accepted that. He is aware that we are the grandchild of our grandfather. He is surprised we can see the true shape of his ears. I mean, we've got that Junimo magic flowing through our body, of course we can see his real ears. He leaves without saying much else. It turns out he did not go far because I see him standing beside Kiwi. I go to the right side of this area where I find a house. In this house is a note that reads, "Keep an eye on the old man's farm. Await further instructions." Interesting, very interesting indeed. I walk to the north of this little area where another cutscene plays. I meet Gio once again. I'm going to be completely honest here. I do not like his vibes. It's like, ooh, look at me, I have cool ears and I'm friends with a magic Junimo and I'm wearing a sweet outfit, aren't I just great? It may be time for Clint to step aside. I believe I may have found my new nemesis. The rest of the day is spent wandering around this big forest. There is an abundance of forage to be found here, which I absolutely love. There are also quite a few enemies here, which I do not mind at all. I have no doubt that my sword can make quick work of them. One thing I am not happy about, however, is that one of these monsters can hit me with the nauseated debuff. This means I can't eat or drink anything for 2 minutes. This puts me in a precarious position as I fight off waves and waves of monsters, unable to eat anything should I need to restore my health. The monsters here drop an item called Spiritual Essence. Cool. The big long serpent-like monster also drops Mountain Mist Bloom when I defeat it. Realistically, I could have left the area at any point, but I wanted to test myself and see if I could last until 2 AM. And that is what I did. I receive a letter from Lenny on day 76. She has invited us to a festival in the village. Wonderful, I'm excited to see what this is all about. I enter Ridgeside Village, walk around for a few seconds, and once again, the festival ends and I am teleported back home. At this point, I became convinced that one of the mods I am using has a feature that lets you skip festivals by pressing a certain key. I take a look and I think I was correct. The Event Repeater mod has an emergency skip function. So I reckon I accidentally hit those keys while I was at today's festival and the Stardew Valley Fair, which caused them to end. I feel very silly. On day 77, I am proud to announce I have 7 Gold Star Mayonnaise. Only 23 more and I will have enough for the community center. The egg situation is also looking bright. Our chickens are producing a ton of them each day. I'm feeling less anxious about the animal bundle in the community center now. I harvest Cascade hops in the greenhouse, then I remember that I already bought Cascade hop starters from Balor and grew them, so I retrieved them from a chest. I throw them into my machines and they get to work. Durin wants Dwarven Ale. We are currently making bitter Dwarven Red Ale wort. That's a mouthful, wow, okay. Which can be turned into Dwarven Red Ale. I'm going to be completely transparent here. I'm not proud of what I did next. I was torn between 2 trains of thought. Number 1, what if Dwarven Red Ale is not the same as Dwarven Ale and Durin won't accept it? And number 2, I'm making Dwarven Ale right now. I've basically done all of the steps involved in this quest. Why don't I just make this a little bit easier for myself? I head to the mines in Durin's Rest where I gather as much Durinium as I possibly can. I use this Durinium to make Doubloons and I spend these Doubloons on 2 Dwarven Ale. I return to the mines to collect more Durinium. I'm sure you can figure out what my plan is. I'm not going to wait for the red Dwarven Ale to be ready, bring it to Durin and hope he accepts it. I'm going to be a bit cheeky and just buy the Dwarven Ale I need. Do I regret doing this? Honestly, yeah, I do. This is similar to me buying 10 oak resin and donating them to the community center. I feel bad for doing this, but I will make up for it. I will not do this again for the next item Durin wants. I sell 124 Joja Berry starters to Pierre on day 78. Like I mentioned earlier, these are worth 1,000 gold each, so this earned us a delicious 124,000 gold. I toss my coffee beans into the keg shed, then I visit Ridgeside Village where the minecart system has been restored. That is fantastic news, and on top of that, everybody was very grateful that I helped them out. It's nice to be appreciated, so that was a very heartwarming cutscene. I head to the north where I enter the house here for the second time. A cutscene plays where Geo introduces me to somebody named Daya. I do not know how to pronounce half of the names I've seen in this playthrough so far, and that is no different here. It might be Daya, or it might be Daya. I might be right, I might be wrong. I do not know. Anyway, both of these adventurers have a list of items that we need to collect from the big forest just north of here. I need to gather 25 mountain mist blooms and donate 1 each of the following items: silver fish bones, hollowed bear, entombed ring, shell bracelet, lover's sorrow, yellow wood sculpture, inked fossil, night black diamond, and a golden skull coral. This won't be easy, it might even be difficult, but I shall persevere. I said that I want to make progress on a storyline outside of the Durin's Rest one. This is the beginning of that mission. If I don't find all of these items by the end of this season, then I'm giving up on this playthrough. I cannot, will not, and must not fail to deliver these items. I enter the big forest where I spend the rest of the day battling monsters and searching for the items I need. One of these monsters drops a golden skull coral and an entombed ring. I also donated the inked fossil while I was in the house, as I picked that up the first time I came here. That is 3 of the 9 items taken care of already. I am curious about the mountain mist bloom though. It said to gather 25 of them, which makes me think they're a forage item and I can find them in this area. On top of getting them by defeating the long serpent monster, of course. I'm not seeing any of them on the ground here right now, so maybe they only show up during a certain season, or it depends on the weather or the time or something like that. At 11 PM I find a very interesting item on the ground. A golden pumpkin. I need this for the community center. This is a very nice find. Day 79 begins in the mine's endurance rest. I want to buy the 3 dwarven ale I need, which means I must get my hands on some more durinium. I took all of my doubloons with me, and after leaving the mines, I turn my durinium into even more doubloons. I buy the 3 ale I need and give it to Durin, for which I receive a noble hop starter, the crafting recipe for the dwarven dark malter, and a quest to bring 5 dwarven porter to Durin. I need iron bars, iridium bars, durinium, and void essence to make this machine. I promise you, this machine will be made. It's back to the mines so I can get even more durinium. I only need 5 to make 5 of that new machine, but I figure it's better to get at least 10 of them just to be on the safe side. I make the new machine on day 80. I place a dwarven barley and piece of coal into it to get things started. I've decided to only have one machine beside the chest here. I don't want to run the risk of making the wrong item by having every machine working at the same time. The wizard has a special order for us. He would like us to find a prismatic slime, defeat it, grab the prismatic jelly it drops, and bring it to him. I accept this special order, but unlike the previous 2 orders, I'm actually going to do this one. I'm tired of letting these villagers down. If I can't remember their birthdays, then the least I can do is complete some orders for them. Next up is museum donation time. I have ignored the museum for quite some time now, so to make up for that, I have brought every gem, mineral, and artifact I have with me. All of these items are donated. I collect the Dwarvish translation guide and 2 rare crows from the rewards available to me, which allows me to talk to the dwarf in the mines for the first time. He is selling oil of garlic and life elixirs. I need both of these for the community center, so I do not buy them. I do not need to. I can make them myself. I will remain strong and resist the temptation to do things the easy way. Once again, I return to the forest in Ridgeside Village. I use a rain totem before I go to sleep. I want to see what effect the rain has on the forest and the items that can spawn there. Gunther pays us a visit on the morning of day 81. He thanks us for donating so many items to the museum, and he lets us know that we will be receiving a large sum of money in the mail. I check my mail, and the first thing I see is a letter from Rosa. The East Scarp Inn will be holding a Halloween party on Spirit's Eve, starting at 1 PM. I will make sure to check that out in 2 days' time. I grab my coffees from the keg shed, then I watch a cutscene where Marilyn enters the sewers. I just realized I did not receive the key to the sewers from Gunther this morning. I forgot that Marilyn gives you the key to the sewers when you reach 5 Hearts of Friendship with him. I ask Robin to upgrade the barn on the farm, then I deliver the 4 items I found in the forest last night. Mountain mist blooms have shown up in the forest, which confirms my theory that rain makes them and potentially other items appear. And by theory, I mean I looked at the wiki for Ridgeside Village and found out that rain makes mountain mist blooms spawn. I just wanted to be honest about that. I pick up the yellow wood sculpture outside the tent on the left side of the area, grab the shell bracelet in the north, and I meet a ghost girl in the right side of the forest. I talk to her and I obtain the hollowed bear. All I need now is the night black diamond. I spend the remainder of the night gallivanting around the forest, hoping to find this diamond, but I have no luck with it, unfortunately. But that is okay. Today was a very successful day regardless. Gunther sends us 40,000 gold on day 82. Thank you, Gunther. I also realized I need 5 of the item Durin wants, so I place another 4 of the same machine down beside the chest. This is going to be a long process. I need to take the dwarven barley mash this machine will make, swap the machine for a different machine, make another item, swap the machines again, rinse and repeat until I end up with 5 dwarven porter. I ask Marnie to add 4 cows to the barn and buy 2 iridium bands from Marlon. Then, to the surprise of everybody I'm sure, I head to the mines to work on the wizard special order. I need to find a prismatic slime. My tactic for this is simple. I use the elevator to get to floor 5 and I search for the prismatic slime. If it is not here, I return to the top of the mines. Then I use the elevator to go back to floor 5. Rinse and repeat until the slime shows up. And it actually shows up really soon after I start this process. This is without a doubt the quickest I have ever obtained the prismatic jelly. I enter the wizard's house where I become a bit nosy, I'll admit, and I start reading a book on one of the wizard's bookshelves. The wizard catches me reading this book and he is a bit miffed that I've decided to do this, but he says he'll teach us plenty of magic in the future. I present the prismatic jelly to the wizard, completing his special order. I spend the rest of the day searching for the diamond in the forest. Long story short, I was not able to find it. The wizard sends us a letter on day 83. He lets us know that the shadow people are holding their own celebration for Spirit's Eve in the sewer. Unfortunately, I do not have the key to the sewer, so I cannot attend this celebration. This festival is added by the Festival of the Mundane mod. I really wish I remembered that we get the key to the sewers by getting Marlon to 5 hearts, and not from Gunther after donating 60 items to the museum. That makes me sad. I head to the inn in East Scarp as a Spirit's Eve party is being held here. It's not really a festival or an event, it's kind of just a group of villagers hanging out inside here, but it's still a really nice touch. I'm excited to see if a similar party will be held for the Winter Star Festival. The inn itself has been very nicely decorated for this party too. I really like this. I leave the party and head to Robin's where I buy kegs and preserve jars. I stopped mentioning me buying these items during the last week or so, but you will see why I mentioned buying these items today pretty soon. I move on to the next stage of the Duran's Rest items machine production thingy. I don't know how to describe this process anymore. In fact, I won't mention this again until I have the Dwarven Porter. I collect a few mushrooms that have shown up on the farm, collect some that have been deposited in the chest beside our tappers, and collect them from the chest in the mushroom cave. I make 20 life elixirs and 10 farm warp totems as I need them for the community center. I throw hops into the kegs to make the pale ale I need and attend the Spirit's Eve festival. I don't spend long here at all though, I just buy a rare crow and the jack-o'-lantern crafting recipe. I head into the forest in Ridgeside Village at 1 AM. Out of curiosity, I take a screenshot of the map and the diamond has actually appeared. The problem is, here is where the diamond is located. It's at the very top of the map. I probably don't have enough time to grab it, but I guess we'll never know if I would have been able to get it because my game crashed at this point. So I had to repeat everything I did today all over again. The only things I did not do are buy kegs and preserve jars from Robin and go into the forest at the end of the day. I'm taking all of my faith and putting it into the hope that I will be able to find the diamond tomorrow. Day 84, the final day of fall. Mayor Lewis pays us a visit and tells us that the governor is sending his wife and son to live in East Scarp for winter. Lewis is relying on us to make them feel welcome. The replies to this are a mix of funny and also very accurate. My personal favourite is, "Isn't that your job?" That being said, I'm busy enough and what's in it for me are also very valid responses too in my opinion. I decide to be nice and say of course I will. I collect eggs and wool from my coop and ask Marnie to add 4 goats to the barn. I toss some eggs into the mayonnaise machines, add hardwood to the list of items I will be purchasing from Robin every time I visit her, and I ask her to build a second barn for us. I collect crabs and cockles from the crab pots at the beach. I only get 7 crabs, but luckily I have another 9 crabs in a chest in the storage shed. I add an auto grabber and a chest to the barn and finish off the crab pot bundle by donating the crabs and cockles. I also finish off one of the bounty board bundles by donating life elixirs, farm warp totems, and a golden pumpkin. Finally, to finish off the day, I head into the forest to search for the diamond. I said earlier that if I do not find all 9 items by the end of fall, then I'm ending the playthrough. This is the moment of truth. Have these 84 days all been for nothing? Is this the end of the series? I was sweating and shaking at this point. My left leg began to bounce up and down nervously. But then, just after midnight, I found it. I found the diamond. The 9th and final item has been found. This playthrough will continue. I am incredibly relieved. I genuinely did start to believe that I wasn't going to find the diamond, so I'm really happy right now. And I think that is a good place to end the season. Again, I feel like we were very productive, especially in terms of the community center this season. I think at this point, the main question I have is, will we be able to fully complete the community center before the end of winter? We shall find out very soon. Alright, here we are, day 85. It is the first day of winter, which means we are closing in on the end of our first year. It has been quite the adventure so far, and I'm really excited to see what happens during this season. We start off with a cutscene featuring the governor's wife and son. They have arrived at the bus stop and are waiting for Lewis. As the mayor of Pelican Town, surely Lewis has made sure he is there to greet them on time and provide them with the warmest of welcomes, right? No, of course not. He is late, which honestly I am not surprised by. I don't really know where my sudden intense dislike of Lewis has come from. Normally I'm directing this sort of frustration and anger and annoyance towards Clint. Anyway, let's not waste any more time talking about our wonderful mayor. Let's rewind time a little bit. On the last day of fall, I was able to find the final artifact that Daya asked for. I'm very excited to see where this storyline is going, so of course, the very first thing I do this morning is drop that artifact off. I must return tomorrow to continue this mysterious adventure. I send my hoe to Clint. I don't plan on planting any seeds during winter, besides some winter seeds so I can get the winter forage I need for the community center. So I can do without it for a couple of days. Going from one expansion mod to the other, I head to Durin's Rest where I buy 4 dwarven yeast. I need these to make the item Durin asked for. I have some wonderful news now, as the trees in the greenhouse have fully grown, which means we can start collecting fruit from them. I am eternally grateful for Grandpa's shed, as I would not have been able to get the fruit I need for the community center without it. I find the shadow guy hiding behind a bush and he gives me the magnifying glass. This allows us to collect and read secret notes. I'm not sure if the Ridgeside Village or East Scarp mod adds more secret notes to the game. Hopefully they do. It would be a lot of fun discovering any new secrets they reveal. I headed to Marnie's shop where she is nowhere to be found. I do not enjoy stealing, unless it is from Pierre or Harvey of course, but stealing some wool helps to alleviate the frustration I feel when Marnie lets me down like this. I do a bit of frolicking through the big forest collecting winter forage and having a jolly good time. I head to a place I have become very familiar with, the river in front of Leah's cabin. I decide to spend the remainder of the day fishing here. With a new season comes a new batch of fish that I must obtain for community center purposes. I have put way too much time and way too much effort into fishing during this playthrough so far. As a result, I refuse to miss out on any fish that I need to donate. I would be so upset if that happened, so I'm going to do everything in my power to ensure there is not even a sliver of a chance of that happening. And if I'm being honest, fishing has become somewhat therapeutic for me. It's a nice break from the usual hustle and bustle. My mind can finally be completely emptied during this time and I can simply relax. On the morning of day 86, I replace the machines for what I believe is the final time. The next item we get should be the one Durin asked for. I pop into my keg shed where I collect the pale ale that was brewing here. So during fall, I bought 10 oak resin from Robin and donated them to the community center. I still feel bad about doing this, so to make up for it, I have taken 10 oak resin out of the chest beside my tree farm and tossed them into the trash. It's difficult to explain exactly why, but I felt like I cheated by buying the 10 oak resin. As a certified Stardew Valley scallywag, it feels weird saying that making an aspect of the game easier has made me feel bad, but, you know, as Patrick Star once said, the inner machinations of my mind are an enigma. Anywhomst, I make a recycling machine. I can toss newspaper into it and I might get cloth in return. Let's cast our minds back to fall one more time. I completed a quest that resulted in the minecart system in Richside Village being repaired. This is the result of that. This is pretty nifty, I will say. I have a feeling I will be going to the big forest area here, and the entrance to it is located right beside the shop, so this should save us just a little bit of time. I head to the house Geo lives in. There is a note waiting for me. It instructs me to return here after 8 PM. That is no problem at all, I can do a little bit of lollygagging in the meantime. Robin is nowhere to be found in her shop, but it does not feel right shoplifting here after the tremendous work she has done on her farm. I pass the time by fishing at the mountain lake before heading to the forest in Richside Village. Here I am introduced to Belinda. She is the seer for the red-tailed lady. I do not know what that means, but I am already invested. Belinda's mission is to find the spirit realm and cleanse the spiritual corruption in this mountain. Oh, okay, so it's not a forest, it's a mountain. Okay, my bad. Belinda says we are special and have an interesting aura which can only mean one thing. She is about to ask us to collect several items and bring them to her. We return to the house where Belinda thanks us for collecting the artifacts for her. She and her children have spent years trying to decipher that book but had no luck. So she is very impressed that we were able to do it and use the information inside the book to find the artifacts. Yeah, I didn't read the book, I just kind of walked around the mountain and hoped for the best. And I also used the wiki page, so I appreciate what you're saying, but it's not true, I'm not special. Bliss, Daya, and Geo have all shown up. They have brought artifacts with them. Apparently Belinda now has everything she needs to open the spirit realm. Just a heads up, this cutscene features flashing lights at times, so I'm going to cut them out. So if it looks like the footage has jumped ahead a bit, that's the reason why. It's probably a really small thing that I don't have to worry about, but I also don't want to run the risk of hurting anybody's eyes. Anywhomst, Belinda did open a portal, but it disappeared again almost immediately afterwards. Suddenly, a voice can be heard. The voice tells Belinda that the portal is unstable, so it has to be closed again. Belinda recognizes this voice. Apparently it is somebody called Ray. Ray says she wants to talk privately to Belinda and me. Yeah, we're absolutely going to have to collect some items very soon. I've developed a bit of a sixth sense for this kind of thing. Belinda refers to Ray as her beloved. I am immensely intrigued now. I want to know all of the lore. Is this a lover's quarrel we are witnessing between the two? Maybe? Belinda tells us to meet her children at the Ridge Forest tomorrow. Okay, wait, so there's a forest and a mountain? Alright, it turns out I wasn't wrong after all when I called it a forest. This might get confusing, so here's what we're going to do. The area we're in now with the house and these characters, I'm going to call this place the forest. The area where I collected all of the artifacts during fall, that's the mountain. Thank you for clearing that up, Belinda. That would have gotten very confusing very quickly. Anyway, that's it for today. Clint sends my hoe back to me on day 87. I head into Marnie's and buy heaters. It is winter, so I want to make sure my animals are nice and toasty inside the coops and barns. I ask Marnie to add 4 cows to the second barn I had built, do a bit of fishing at the mountain lake with a focus on catching lingcod, and ask Robin to upgrade one of the barns. I dig up an artifact spot and get a snow yam. Sweet, now I can make winter seeds. I plant the seeds, then I sprinkle some speed grow on them. The dwarven porter Doran asked for is finally ready, so I collect it, do a teeny bit of foraging, and run as quickly as I possibly can to Doran's home. I give him the dwarven porter and he starts talking about how we should make a dwarven still and use it to make another item. There's a bunch of steps involved in this, and honestly I don't want to make these items anymore. It's been fun, don't get me wrong, but we have made so many of them already. That, and I didn't get a new quest from Doran, so I don't think he actually wants the item that this new machine makes. Another little foraging session takes place. I will jump on any opportunity I get to grab more forage. Then I head to the forest as Belinda requested. Belinda dismisses her 3 children. That's what she calls them anyway. I don't know if they're like biological children of hers, or if it's like she's the leader of a group and she just calls them her children, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Belinda says we have to offer certain items to the crystals located around the mountain in order to restore their magic and work towards opening a stronger portal to the spirit realm. We must offer 30 items that are the same color as each crystal. So, for example, we can grab 30 cranberries from the storage shed and offer them to the red crystal. This one shouldn't be too difficult if that's the case. I probably have 30 of each colored item I'll need for this. We need 30 blue, green, yellow, orange, and red items for the corresponding crystals. Oh yeah, I definitely have what I need already. This is a lovely development, I must say. It turns out there are 2 more colors, grey and purple. Stone and eggplants, easy. After collecting the items I need for this quest, I plant some winter seeds, then I return to the mountain and donate 30 cranberries to take care of the first crystal. I find a golden pumpkin, nice, donate 30 stone to the second crystal, eggplants to the third crystal, blueberries to the fourth crystal, fiber to the fifth crystal, sap to the sixth crystal, and pumpkins to the seventh and final crystal. After doing this, we hear a voice telling us to return here tomorrow. Bliss visits the farm on day 88 and lets us know that the seer will be waiting for us in the forest after 8 PM. I head to the greenhouse where I collect 3 of each fruit that are growing on trees here. I think it's safe to say that I'm guaranteed to get all the fruit I need before the end of winter, so that is quite the relief, I must say. A very short cutscene featuring Kiwi the Junimo plays. They simply say, and that's it. I'm already invested in whatever is going on with Kiwi. Demetrius has a special order for us. He wants us to catch 10 squid. I need to donate 10 squid, so I might as well accept this one. I buy 2 battery packs from Clint and check out the wares that the dwarf is selling. I need to get my hands on 25 cave carrots in order to make 25 survival burgers for donation purposes. I could have sworn the dwarf had cave carrot seeds for sale, but I guess not. Maybe somebody else is selling them? I know for a fact I've seen them being sold, I just can't remember which shop I saw them in. After having no luck in Piers, I visit the Shadow Market, but Balor is not selling these seeds either. It's okay though, I do have a plan B when it comes to getting cave carrots. In the meantime, I visit Balor, who has a quest for us. He wants us to give 12 juniper berries to Durin. This is actually an amazing quest for us. The reason for that being, one of the trees I planted in the greenhouse is the juniper berry tree. I've already been collecting them and I can easily continue doing so until I obtain all 12 that are required. Back on the farm, I make 2 slime egg presses. I have the option of donating a red and a blue slime egg for one of the bundles. I don't have to donate either, as I only have to donate 6 of the 8 items in the bundle. But if I get one or both of these eggs, I certainly will not complain. In the saloon, I buy 25 bread from Gus. I also pick up the triple shot espresso recipe. It is time for the plan B I mentioned earlier today. I buy some bombs and mega bombs from the dwarf, use the elevator to go down to floor 15 and place a bomb on the patch of dirt. Doing this results in us getting 2 or 3 cave carrots each time. I repeat this process over and over until I get all of the cave carrots I need. I head to the beach where I spend some time catching even more fish, then it's off to the forest where Belinda is waiting for us. She activates a portal of some kind. A voice calls out Belinda's name. Belinda immediately recognizes this voice as Ray's voice. Belinda disappears and Bliss says she went to the waterfall across the bridge to the west of here, so that is where I go. It is here where I finally meet Ray for the first time. Ray asks us if we think it's strange that crops and forage grow so fast around the valley. It turns out it is because of her. She then says she is kidding. Or is she? A bit of bickering takes place between Ray and Belinda in regards to Ray shutting down Belinda's portal in the past. We then move to an area with several podiums. Then we are bestowed with some sweet backstory. Our grandmother worked with Belinda and Ray in the past. She used these podiums to create a portal to the spirit realm. She entered and was successful in helping to ensure that the corruption is restricted to the mountain and only the mountain. Unfortunately, she left the world a few seasons later, the price she paid in order to save the world, essentially. Now it is time for us to finish what our grandmother started. We need to enter the spirit realm and get rid of the corruption entirely from the valley. However, in order for Ray to be able to open a portal for us to enter, we must find a few relics and place them on the podiums here. The bad news is, Ray does not know which relic goes on which podium, so we will have to guess where they go when we get them. Trial and error, basically. It shouldn't take too long for us to figure it out after we retrieve these relics. And that is it for today. I wanted to ask Robin to add a pond to the farm on day 89, but I am broke. I didn't even realize I had almost no money left until right now. I sell 107 Joja berry starters to Pierre and buy sugar and wheat flour for the cooking of dishes in the future. I return to Robin's and actually have her build the pond this time. Then I rush to the forest. I am very excited to learn more about the spirit realm, so I will not be doing any dilly-dallying when it comes to gathering all of the relics Ray needs. I take a look at a book in the house which provides details about where to find these relics. I'm going to be completely honest here. I'm just going to look at the Ridgeside Village wiki page so I can find these relics. I don't have a good excuse for doing this either, I'm just feeling very lazy. In the hotel here in Ridgeside Village, I swing my axe at a painting on the wall. I receive the ancient music box for doing this. At the cliff to the right of the cable car, I dig up a patch of dirt between the tree and the bench to get the moose statue. I grab my watering can from my farm, then it is back to the village where I obtain Everfrost Stone, the village hero sculpture, and the sapphire pearl. I bump into Bliss outside an abandoned greenhouse. She says we should return to this greenhouse at midnight if we want to save a lost soul. I retrieve the Elven Comb and the Opal Halo. Opal? You know what, I don't think it matters what it's called. Anyway, at around 1 AM, I enter the abandoned greenhouse. A cold chill runs down my spine. We feel some sort of presence here, maybe some sort of spirit. Then we pass out. The results of the slime egg press are revealed on day 90. I received 2 green eggs. I do not need even one of this egg, but there's still plenty of time left for me to try to get a red or blue egg again, so I'm not worried. Another fruit collection session takes place in Grandpa's shed. I have 6 of every fruit that I'm growing here except for pomegranate and juniper berries. I have 5 juniper berries, I'm not sure what happened to that missing one. But I do have 12 pomegranates. I think what has happened is the foraging perk that gives us a chance to get 2 of any forage item I pick up has only applied to the pomegranate tree for some reason. I think that's what happened anyway. Or maybe the pomegranate tree just gives double fruit by default for whatever reason. With adrenaline in my soul, I make my way to Ridgeside Village. Bliss is waiting for us outside the greenhouse. She informs us that the greenhouse itself is stuck between the spirit realm and the physical realm. She encourages us to return here at midnight to investigate further. Yeah, look, one of the relics I need is inside this greenhouse, so can I just pop inside and grab it really quickly? No? No, okay. Okay, I see how it is. Let's move on to the 8th relic. For this one, I head into the forest and stand in front of this statue here. According to my sources, aka the Ridgeside Village Wiki, I must remain here without moving for 2 minutes. I do so and I receive the Relic Fox Mask. Now, when it comes to the executive decisions I make, many of them are big. In fact, all of them are big. However, every one of those pales in comparison to the one I have just made. I have decided to spend not just the rest of today fishing, but also days 91 through 97 fishing. The reason for this being I not only need to finish off catching some winter fish, but I also need to grab quite a few of each of the fish that are included in the specialty fish bundle. The following fish were caught during this period of time: squid, perch, herring, ghostfish, stonefish, ice pip, wood skip, sandfish, and scorpion carp. All that is left for me to do is to get 5 spookfish, which can only be done during the night market, which takes place on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of winter. During this fishing period, I harvested the winter forage that was growing and asked Robin to upgrade my house twice. I also made sure that my animals were looked after and collected all of the milk they produce. And I continued collecting fruit from the trees in the greenhouse. I would like to clarify one more thing. I did not go into the abandoned greenhouse in Richside Village and grab the relic, or give 12 juniper berries to Durin. I wanted to wait until things were back to normal before I did either of those things. Thank you all for indulging me there. I hope that wasn't too boring. Let us get back to the gameplay. I'm going to begin day 98 by showing you all some important items I have stored. In chest number 1, I have placed the items I need to make artichoke dip and survival burgers. That is 2 of the 6 dishes needed for the community center. I also have pale ale, and I can easily get some coffees and use them to make espressos when it comes time to donate these items. So that's actually 4 of the 6 dishes sorted. I must brainstorm the final 2 and above all else, hope that I can complete the cooking bundle. Like I said, I did not grab the final relic from the greenhouse, so I still have the 8 relics, which is still a very nice position to be in. I've taken all of the gold eggs I need and put them into a chest along with the winter forage, cloth, fruit, mayo, duck feathers and cheese I have collected. I bought 20 casks from Robin during that fishing period. Now what I need to do is ask her to add a cellar to the house so I can throw my casks into the cellar, throw my cheese into them and leave them be until they reach gold star quality. I also have 11 of the 12 juniper berries I need, which means I will get the final one today. I make 20 artichoke dips, 10 espressos, and 25 survival burgers. I collect the 12th juniper berry from the greenhouse and enter the community center where I donate the 3 items I just made along with pale ale, oranges, and wool. I also donate cherries, peaches, and apricots, completing the artisan bundle. Finally, I donate large white eggs and mayonnaise to the animal bundle, and I complete the winter foraging bundle. The foraging room is now done and dusted. 3 rooms down, 3 to go. I grab some Joja berry starters from a chest, grab some cloth for my looms, send my hoe to Clint so he can upgrade it, and sell my Joja berry starters to Pierre. I then turn around and immediately ruin my financial position by spending 100,000 gold to have Robin add the cellar to the house. It's off to Durin's Rest now, where I give the juniper berries to Durin. He is very pleased, but more so than that, he is very, very impressed that I was able to get these. He tells us he has something to show us upstairs. After following him up there, he talks to us about a diary that belonged to his father. One thing in this diary has especially stuck out to Durin. His father wrote, "Only when I return home, put down the axe and take up the hoe, will I truly be a champion." Durin's father built secret bunkers around the town many years ago. One of these bunkers is an underground greenhouse. We go back downstairs and Durin presses a button which causes an elevator to rise up from the ground outside our farm here. Of course, the first thing I do following all of this is use the elevator to enter this underground greenhouse. It is massive, and I mean massive. There are 4 big patches of land where we can plant crops, and there are 20 spaces for us to plant tree saplings. It was worth it. Everything we did here in Durin's Rest, all of the monsters we defeated, all of the items we gave to Durin, all of the machines we made, it was all worth it. There is a second floor with the exact same layout, another 4 big patches of land for crops, and another 20 spaces for tree saplings. There's also another floor, and another, and one more. There are 5 floors in this greenhouse. Now, I'm no mathematician, but if I was to estimate, I would say we can plant around 900, maybe 1,000 seeds on each floor. We can also plant 20 tree saplings on each floor, which means we can plant 4,500 to 5,000 seeds and 100 tree saplings in this greenhouse. I grab my Joja berry starters and ancient seeds along with 10 iridium sprinklers from the storage shed. I collect more seeds from the chest beside our seed makers and pick up a further 34 iridium sprinklers lying around the farm. I toss some items into the shipping bin, then I venture forth into the greenhouse in Ridgeside Village. The spirit here is very happy that we have returned. Apparently, the purple man and lady are keeping them captive here because they gave the spirit a challenge and they failed this challenge. This spirit asks us to complete the challenge for them, hoping that this will result in them being set free. I use my watering can on the statue at the top of the greenhouse to obtain the final relic. Then I take a look at this challenge we have been given. We have to collect 25 mountain mist bloom, that's going to be easy. Collecting 5 rubies will also be easy. Unfortunately though, there is no way I will be able to collect 10 sweet gem berries before winter is over. So I guess the spirit will have to wait until next year to be freed. I actually feel bad for the spirit. I will complete this challenge as soon as I can in spring of year 2. On day 99, I do something which I cannot believe I have not done yet. I go to the beach area on the farm and break open the supply crates that washed up on the shore. This provides us with a ton of nice items. Bombs, artifact troves, dishes, and triple shot espressos are all added to our inventory. Nautilus shells are also in plentiful supply here, which is absolutely sensational news as I have to donate 10 of them. I stayed on this beach until around 11 AM, at which point I left and went to the forest. And so begins the trial and error portion of the quest I was given. Basically, I put a relic on a podium, and if it lights up, the relic stays on that podium. If not, then I must remove it and try it on a different podium. It doesn't take too long for me to get this done, and when I do, Ray appears and thanks me for my hard work. The rest of the adventurers, no, you know what? Heroes. The rest of the heroes show up too, at which point Ray creates a portal that will allow us to access the spirit realm. As the descendant of our grandmother, we are the only person who is able to venture inside and cleanse the corruption for good. We're going to be looking for purple flames inside here, which we must extinguish. Right, no more lollygagging. Let's do this. I head inside and find myself in the mythical spirit realm. Similar to the mountains, there are many monsters here. What we now have to do is interact with a green crystal to teleport to another green crystal and basically just hope we get lucky and find all of the purple flames. The green crystals really confused me. I had a lot of difficulty making my way around this map. I will save you all the details of the hardships I endured here. Long story short, I extinguished most, but not all, of the purple flames. At 8 PM I remembered that the night market is open, so I used a warp totem to go to Durin's Rest. From there I went to the bus stop and hopped into a minecart at the bus stop to get to town and walked the rest of the way to the beach. I did accept a special order along the way to get ectoplasm for the wizard. Again, I will do my very best to make sure I complete this one. The rest of the night is spent fishing in the submarine. I was able to catch one and then a second spookfish before the night ended. Clint has sent our hoe back to us on day 100. I take a long walk to the desert as I wanted to buy Deluxe Speed Grow from Sandy. Upon entering her shop, I am hit with the unfortunate news that she is not selling Deluxe Speed Grow. Today is Tuesday. She sells it on Thursdays. I have goofed. Pierre also is not selling it. I already knew he wouldn't be, but I was hoping for a miracle. A miracle that, alas, did not occur. I buy a bus ticket in order to get to Calico Desert, then I get right back on the bus because I realized I am not as prepared as I want to be for the Skull Cavern run I plan on doing today. I head to the mines and buy bombs and miner's treats from the dwarf. Then I head back to the desert, drink a monster musk, and head inside. The first floor is the spiral floor, which is dreadful. There is no other way to put it. It takes longer than I would have liked for me to get to floor 2, but that's no big deal. You see, I'm not here to get down to the lowest floor I can. Instead, my goal is to try to get Rabbit's Foot. I need to donate 3 of these, and the serpents here have a chance to drop it when you defeat them. I wasn't able to get one here today before I used a warp totem to leave and go to the beach, but at least I know that defeating the serpents is really easy thanks to her sword. It takes 2 hits to take them out, so I will definitely come back here a few more times and try to get at least 2 of the elusive Rabbit's Foot. I do some fishing in the submarine and catch a spookfish. Nice. We have the 3 spookfish we need. I have no reason to spend any more time in the submarine, so I leave and call it a day. Day 101 has arrived, and with it comes the moment I, and maybe some of you, have been waiting for. It is time to donate all of the fish that are needed for the community center. I am experiencing a very real sense of pride and accomplishment as I complete the river fish bundle, then the ocean fish bundle, then the lake fish bundle, then the night fishing bundle. To the surprise of absolutely nobody at this point, I'm sure, I have made a massive mistake. I thought I needed 3 spookfish. It turns out, I need 5. I'm going to focus on the positive here. This is not the end of our dream to complete the community center in its entirety. The night market will be open tonight for the final time this year, so as long as I'm able to catch 2 more spookfish, everything will be okay. I grab my casks and cheeses from a chest and head into the newly built cellar. I toss the cheese into the casks that are already here, then I place more I'm not going to say that word anymore. C-A-S-K-S. I can barely pronounce that word. I can barely pronounce the letters when I'm spelling out the word, so I'm not going to say that word anymore. I place those things down and toss the goat cheese into them. Now we must play the waiting game. Once these reach gold star quality, I will collect and donate them. I use the portal to enter the spirit realm, and again, I'm not going to show me running around the place and getting very confused and lost. I'll just cut right to the chase. I was able to extinguish the remaining purple flames here, and when I did, I heard a voice. Gabriella, the person or spirit or entity responsible for the corruption here, has been defeated. With her grasp on the valley removed, the mountain now looks completely different, and the spirits that were trapped here have been set free. In other words, we just saved the world.
What can I say? It's no big deal, you know what I'm saying? It's just part of the job. That's what I do.
I am never, ever, for as long as I live, ever going to use that voice ever again. I am so sorry to anybody who is listening right now and had to hear that. Belinda and Ray thank us for the work we have done here. Hey, no problem. It was an absolute pleasure. I will say, this entire storyline was a lot of fun to play through. I really enjoyed all of it. The summit of the mountain has revealed itself according to Ray. There is a house up there that belongs to an old couple who were trapped there when the corruption took over the mountain. Ray would appreciate it if we visit the old couple to see if they are okay. Belinda has decided to give Gio and Daya the responsibility of keeping the mountain safe. Nice, I think that means they're going to stay here in Ridgeside Village and we can become friends with them. Daya thanks us for the work we have done. Then Gio says he is very grateful for what we have done too. Maybe I was wrong about him. Perhaps he isn't my nemesis as I thought when I originally met him. Oh, no, never mind, he still does not trust us. Okay, well, that sucks, but you know, what can you do? Anyway, I teleport to the beach where the most intense fishing experience of my life takes place inside the submarine. I catch the 4th spookfish, then at almost 1 AM I catch the 5th spookfish. I feel so relieved right now. I've got a ton of adrenaline flowing through my body right now, so I harness that adrenaline and use it as a source of motivation to get to the community center before I pass out at 2 AM. I arrive at 1:50 AM and donate the 5 spookfish. The fishing bundles have now been entirely completed. I could cry right now, that is how happy I am. But there is no time for crying as there are still plenty of things for us to do before the end of this wonderful, action-packed and chaotic year. I do a bit of gallivanting around the beach area on the farm on day 102. Nautilus shells are a top priority right now, so I reckon I shall be doing this a couple more times before winter ends. Which I do not mind at all. It is very satisfying collecting these shells and especially breaking those supply crates. I sell some crappie whoppies to Pierre, then as it is Thursday, I go to Sandy's shop in the desert and buy 800 deluxe speed grow. 2 new locations have been added to the Ridgeside minecart, East Summit Farm and West Summit Farm. I choose the West and I believe I have found myself at the house that Ray said belonged to the old couple. Inside the house I find a note. You can pause to read the note in its entirety if you like. The gist of it is the old couple who lived here were sealed away from the rest of the world. One day a purple mist approached their farm. Nature itself came alive and encased the farm in high walls of soil, plants and trees. They tried to take down this wall but were not successful in doing so. They weren't angry at being trapped, however. In their eyes, this massive wall wasn't trapping them, but rather keeping them safe from the purple mist. They end the note by saying that this farm now belongs to whoever reads this note. First of all, sweet, we just got a new farm. Secondly, I don't know if it's just me, but that whole thing about them being trapped by a giant wall of soil, trees and plants, that is nightmare fuel. I can't even imagine being in that position. That sounds horrible. So I very much respect the fact that they were able to view it as a positive thing. That could not be me. The area surrounding the farm is very beautiful in my opinion. I don't think I'll plant crops here anytime soon, but I'm looking forward to making the old couple proud with what I eventually do with the farm. In case anybody is wondering, the entrance to this farm is located at the north of the mountain where we collected those artifacts. We can now accept special orders in the house in the forest. I look forward to accepting these special orders and then forgetting to do them. I enter the greenhouse in Durin's Rest and place sprinklers down. 9 iridium sprinklers cover 1 patch of land. If my math is correct, that means we can plant 216 seeds in one of these patches. With 4 patches on each level, that is 864 seeds per level. So all 5 levels gives us space to plant 4,320 seeds. That is going to be a lot of ancient fruit and jojo berries. The rest of the day, as well as days 103 and 104, are spent planting ancient seeds and jojo berry starters on the first floor. The Odd Jobs team in Ridgeside Village has sent us a letter on day 105. They have been informed that we now own the house at the summit in Ridgeside Village. They can renovate the place for us if we provide them with enough money. I shall keep this in mind. I harvest some pearls and send one to Willy. If you've watched my videos before, then you probably know that I consider Willy to be one of the best characters in the game. I've also made jokes before about how this character or that character is my favorite villager in the entire game. This time I'm being 100% serious. Willy is my favorite villager. And truthfully, it's not even close. After learning how to make pumpkin pie, I make 15 of them. I collect a nautilus shell at the beach, then I head to the desert trader where I discover that the crafting recipe for the desert warp totem can be purchased for 10 iridium bars. I thought it was 5. I remember I accepted a special order from the wizard to bring him an ectoplasm, so I head to the mines where the very first ghost I defeat drops the ectoplasm. Neat. I buy a rare crow from the traveling cart, deliver the ectoplasm to the wizard and walk to the desert. The good thing about this walk is it gives me the chance to defeat some slimes which drop, well, slime. These can be tossed into the slime egg press, which will hopefully give us a blue or red slime egg in the future. To finish off the day, I trade 10 iridium bars for the desert warp totem. On day 106 we have a kerfuffle on our hands. The cooked dishes bundle might be an issue. I have the pumpkin pies, so we need to get our hands on one more dish. Right off the bat, truffle oil is out the window. I don't have pigs, so I can't make truffle oil. The shrimp cocktail recipe is unlocked by watching the Queen of Sauce show on the 28th day of winter in year 2. That one is also out the window. We need garlic to make escargot, which we do not have, so again, we cannot make this dish. That leaves us with the final dish, lobster bisque. This one only requires lobster and milk, which we have. Unfortunately though, this recipe is unlocked by watching the Queen of Sauce TV show on the 14th day of winter in year 2. Or after reaching 9 hearts with a specific villager. Which means we are all good. I have the recipe for lobster bisque. You see, that specific villager is the one villager whose birthday I will never forget. They are the one villager who I will always make time for. The one villager who I will always go out of my way to talk to and to give gifts to. Gifts like sturgeon and pearls, which I have acquired quite a few of thanks to my fishing expeditions and the pearl seeds that grow on the farm. They are my favorite villager in the entire game. Willy. Willy sends you the recipe for lobster bisque when you reach 9 hearts of friendship with him. So when exactly did he send me the recipe? This morning. Yeah, that was pretty good timing. Anyway, the entire day was spent in the Skull Caverns and I was able to get a rabbit's foot today too. Beautiful. I place more slime into the slime egg press on day 107. Mr. Key has sent us 10,000 gold for reaching floor 25 in the Skull Cavern. Thank you, Mr. Key. My bank account was not looking sensational in any way, shape or form, so this was very much needed. I make 5 lobster bisque and collect the 10th and final nautilus shell I need at the beach area. A rabbit's foot, gold star large eggs, gold star duck eggs, wool and duck feathers are ready to collect in our coop. I toss the wool into looms in order to get some cloth, and I take a look at a chest containing some animal products. I'm feeling good about the cloth and rabbit's foot situation. I feel like I'll be able to reach 3 rabbit's foot and 50 cloth without too much hassle. I don't think I'll be able to get 10 duck feathers before winter ends, but they belong to a bundle that lets me pick and choose what I want to donate and which 2 items I want to leave out. Finally, the gold star duck eggs. I'm slightly nervous about them, though I am hopeful that I will be able to get enough of them by the end of this week. I use the Look Up Anything mod to see what slime eggs are being produced. The first is a purple egg. That's not what I need, but it's still cool all the same. The second slime egg is the blue one. Nice. I donate lobster bisque, pumpkin pie, and nautilus shells to the bounty board bundles. All I have to do is donate 2 of the 5 items you see on the screen right now. A blue slime egg is being produced, so we just need 1 more item. The gold star requirement is actually making this really difficult. I'm legitimately worried about this bundle. I've got 1 gold star large milk and large goat milk in one barn, and 7 milk and 2 goat milk in the other barn. We're just playing the waiting game now and hoping we end up with enough of either of these to donate, along with what will hopefully be enough duck eggs on the last day of winter. Moving on now, I buy some coffees in the saloon, turn them into triple shot espressos and warp to the desert. I spend the rest of the day in the Skull Caverns. I was not able to get a rabbit's foot, but I did get some cloth. Speaking of cloth, I collect some more from our looms on day 108. We have 2 squid ink in the chest beside our pond, but I'm almost positive I won't be donating this item. I collect the blue slime egg. Piers is closed, of course he is, so I end up tossing some items into the shipping bin as I am broke. Like, actually certified broke. I have 0 gold. In the cellar, I use my pickaxe to collect my gold star cheese and goat cheese. I donate the slime egg and this cheese to the community center. I am excited to finish the community center because that means I won't have to say community center anymore. I have lost count of how many times I've said it now. I head into the Skull Caverns where I decide to leave almost as soon as I enter. The reason for this being I don't have any bombs with me. I need those. I return a short while later feeling much more adequately prepared for this Skull Cavern malarkey session. I spend the rest of the day in here. Just like yesterday, I was not able to get a rabbit's foot, but I did get more cloth, so a win is a win. Day 109 is the Feast of the Winter Star Festival. I talk to the villagers before giving Evelyn a fairy rose. Then Caroline gives me a glow ring. I appreciate the thought. I buy some bombs from the dwarf and watch a cutscene where Willy gives us the copper pan. We can use this to do some panning. I'll be honest, the only time I use the copper pan is to get artifacts on Ginger Island. Oh, and I also wear it as a hat sometimes. I've got enough cloth to donate to the community center. That is all of the bounty board bundles completed. As long as our animals do not let us down, we will get the community center finished by the end of this week. Mayor Lewis sends us a letter on day 110. The items we have donated to the bounty board bundles were delivered to the villagers that wanted these items. This has earned us 2 hearts of friendship with the villagers. At least I think it's 2. In vanilla Stardew Valley it is, but I wonder if the challenging community center bundles mod has changed how many friendship hearts we get. Gus pays us a visit and gives us a wonderful piece of machinery. He gives us the jukebox. Gus is officially my 2nd favorite villager in the game. Just to give you all a progress update on our animal items, I need 3 more gold star duck eggs, 1 more rabbit's foot, and 12 more large milk or 13 more large goat milk. I am nervous about the milk. I head to the Odd Jobs building in Ridgeside Village because I want to see what exactly they meant when they said they can renovate our farm at the summit. It looks nice, it looks very nice even, but A, I cannot afford it right now, and B, I kinda like the aesthetic of the farm as it is right now. I will buy this renovation in the future, but for now I'm happy to stick with what I have. Also, it has just occurred to me that I never showed my greenhouse in Durin's Rest after I planted all of the Joja Berry starters and ancient seeds I have, so here you go. Joja Berry starters are like green bean seeds in the sense that you can't walk through them, hence the layout of the seeds here. I didn't want to accidentally block the way to some of these crops and end up not being able to harvest them when they have grown. That, and it also allowed me to plant ancient seeds with the Joja Berry starters. I did not plant any fruit tree saplings, but I will absolutely be doing that next year. The goal is to fill up every floor in this greenhouse with ancient fruit and Joja berries. I am drooling at the thought of how much money we will earn from harvesting all of those crops. As has become somewhat of a habit during the last few days, I warp to the desert and spend the remainder of the day in the Skull Cavern. I get a rabbit's foot on the 4th floor. Lovely, I've got all 3 I need. I spend some time with my animals on day 111. I'm trying to encourage them to give me the duck egg and large milks I need. And that is all I did today. Day 112 has arrived. The final day of our first year begins with a letter from Lenny who invites us to the Ember of Resolutions festival. It will be taking place in the Ridgeside Village forest at 10 PM tonight. I go through the chests in my coop and barns and gather all of the duck eggs and large milks that have appeared. It is time for the moment of truth. I have 19 gold star duck eggs, 17 gold star large milks, and 6 large goat milks. I don't have enough to complete the community center. If I had just 1 more duck egg and 3 more large milks, then I would have what I need, but should've, would've, could've. I donate the 3 rabbits' foot to the community center, and you know what? Is it disappointing that I wasn't able to finish off this last bundle? Yeah, of course it is. I was really hoping I would be able to get it done by the end of today. But at the same time, I feel like we've done pretty well when it comes to the community center. We came so very close to getting it all done, and hey, at least we can say we gave it our best shot, right? We gave it our all, and I'm proud of myself for getting as far as I have. I will admit, I did stand in my barn for 5 whole minutes hoping that 3 more milk would appear in the chest here, but of course that didn't happen. Anyway, let us make haste to the forest where the New Year's Eve party is taking place. I talked to the villagers here, sharing a moment of peace, relaxation, and good vibes with them all. And that is the end of winter and the end of the year. We've done a lot during these last 112 days. We've conquered the mines in Durin's Rest. We've delivered some lovely food and drink items to Durin. We've become friends with everybody in Durin's Rest. And we gained access to a massive greenhouse there. We basically helped save the world in Ridgeside Village and unlocked a new farm there. We repaired Grandpa's old shed and unlocked another greenhouse inside it. We have done so much, and I have enjoyed every single second of it. I hope you have enjoyed watching my adventures in this massive modded playthrough. And with that, I must bid you all adieu. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.